Welcome, everybody, to the Making Awesome podcast. This is your episode 222. We got Rapid after the show, which neither of us actually went to. But we're going to be talking about the things that we saw at Rapid through the eyes of others and the eyes of the marketing departments of the companies. Things that caught our attention and, what we think about it. So if you are just joining us for the first time, make sure to leave a like and get subscribed. Links and things that you need are in that description. These streams are brought to you ad-free, so if you do want to support, you can do so. And of course, you can enter to win some awesome printed solid filament if you are watching us live. And if you're not, you should, because we do hang out pretty much every Sunday right here at noon Eastern time. So, Jacob, talk to the group about what happened this past week. Like, what's the big news?
So obviously we've had TCT. That's the big one.
Mm-hmm.
But is it? Because there's one bigger in my eyes.
Yeah.
And that's the Benchy turning 10.
The Benchy hit 10 double-digit Benchies. All right. That's a big deal. Like,
it really is.
The fact that a 3D model has remained in the zeitgeist other than like a calibration cube for that long is super cool. So, like, congratulations to Daniel Norre and Paul O'Keefe. We were trying to get them on the show. It didn't work out. It would have been super cool. But if you guys didn't see, they are working with Maker World and they have released the original FreeCAD files for the Benchy.
That's really nice to see. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy that the Benchy has stayed around. Like, with the sheer amount of Benchies I've printed, it's nice to see that it's just cemented itself as a community like pillar where it's pretty much not going to go away at this point. If it's survived 10 years, it's probably going to survive a lot longer.
We've had a couple
and it's been there for everyone's experiences. Like, every machine I've seen at most shows are printing Benchies.
I was gonna say, we had a couple of shows this past 2 weeks, and at every one of those shows, we were printing Benchies. Now, these were like, one of them was a career fair at a local school. They wanted STEM and STEAM companies to come in and talk, and last minute they asked us to do it. And I'm like, F it, I'm gonna throw Benchies at high schoolers. And it's exactly what I did. Middle school and high school, actually. Was a ton of fun. And then the other one was a nonprofit event that we did. And same deal, right? I was just throwing Benchies to people because it works. But now that it's in public domain, I can change the link on the bottom of it to go to my website instead of
I've already done it.
I haven't.
I've got a 250% scale Benchy just because our website link is so bloody long.
I print the speedboat on the Core 1, so the Core 1 is now like my de facto I take it places printer because it just sits on, I can set it up on the table, click print, and walk away for the most part. And it's nice because it's enclosed. I can stack stuff kind of on it and around it, and yeah, it works out. Luke's Laboratory is here saying, I make printer to make boat, simple enough. And we're going to be talking about some stuff that we saw at Luke's table, again, through the eyes of others, because neither of us were actually at Rapid. But since Luke is here, I'm going to preempt this with, Luke, for the love of God, please, I don't know how many times I need to ask this. I know we beg for the index, but I'll beg you for this. Please make a better Hotend for the +4, because if I'm forced to do it, I'm just going to use a bamboo Hotend. And I know you have a bamboo Hotend. So we're already we are almost done with the circuit board to take the Cheaty Q1 Pro Hotend and put it on the +4. And then we're gonna move on to doing it with the bamboo Hotend. So I'm just saying. He said, I figured y'all tagged me. So yeah, I know that you're here, so I'm gonna ask, No, I'm gonna tell you, I need it. Okay, I'm not gonna ask you to please make it. Luke, I need it. Luke, I will easily make a video dedicated to that hot end, and I won't even charge a dollar. I'm not like I need this in my life. That printer is suffering so much because no company should have a heat break made of nothing but ceramic. God.
I'm actually starting to think it was an intentional decision to sell more hot ends with how fast everyone is going through them. Like,
well, I mean,
when was the last time you saw a nozzle break that it wasn't the nozzle's fault, it was the heat break's fault?
Well, the company tells me they should only last 1 to 3 months with regular use, Jacob.
1 to 3 months? What,
Yeah.
like 24/7 carbon fiber printing?
Jacob, I have that in writing.
Oh no. Oh. Oh no. I have very mixed feelings right now.
So honestly, Luke, and we can talk after the show if you want, but there are 2 ways we can go about this. We can say, F making a dedicated one, let's just make the board that accepts the bamboo hot end that will accept your hot end. But I will say the one current problem of putting a bamboo hot end in a Cheaty +4 is it needs a thermocouple, not a thermistor. So, I'm just saying, maybe, just maybe, if you had a thermocouple option for your hot end, that could be the one that we recommend. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Anyways, yeah, Benchy turned 10, dude. Like, that's a big freaking deal.
It's huge.
I love it, and I you know, we all kind of expected them to release the CAD files. I didn't expect it to happen with Maker World. Honestly, I'm like, really? Out of all the ones they partnered with Maker World. They partnered with the one that copied printables for the most part, got caught checking how printables does their reporting system and how that works. Like, and the company that just spits in the face of open source. But hey, whatever, you know, if it works, it works. And if it gets them the publicity that they need, I'm happy for them. But I do think it is really cool. Something that I thought was very funny, and Jacob and I were talking about this before the show. My back injury has the same anniversary date as the Benchy being published. The Benchy was published April 9th of 2015. April 9th of 2020 is when I got injured and could pretty much not walk for 2.5 years without the assistance of a cane or something like that. So that's a thing. I remember it was probably last year that I did it, where I talked about my back for an entire episode. So if you do want to watch that, I'm sure, find the podcast that occurred on April 9th. I talked all about my back that day. Luke said he'll probably go fully live this week with that Swiss lathe. Ooh, nice. And they got approved and are finishing up the pre-launch page. Very, very nice.
That's really well done, guys.
So I guess, are you working with Bamboo on that? I figured you wouldn't be. And you would just say, screw it. We'll... Either way, I'm excited to see it.
Either way, congratulations. It is quite an undertaking to do that. So big congrats.
And I guess while we're kind of in the groveling mood, Index. Hi, Bondtech. Gonna need those indexes. I just bought another Sobel SV08. I got a great deal on it. I drove about 45 minutes to go and get it. Brought it back in my 2-door Honda. It barely fit, but barely fit means it works. And Bondtech once again says that they will accept bagging as a formal application method. So, Index. They put it on a V0 because these guys are madmen and they know the cost of shipping printers across the world. Yeah. So they put it on the smallest one and they fit 4 tool heads on a V0.
I've never seen such a small printer with so many heads on it.
It was so cute. I'm like, honestly, I kind of love that.
As somebody who loves micro printers, a micro printer with multiple heads is adorable and high performance. I love it.
I like the micro printers, but I have very little use for them because they can't do a lot of the stuff that the larger machines can. Give me like a V0 or a Soval 0 with a 3 or 4 tool index on it. Well, hold on. Hold the phone.
That is complete new paradigm.
Yeah, that starts to make these smaller machines. Like think FlashForge AD5M size, like the 220 or 250 cubes, and even smaller now, become heavily viable for print farms that and I don't look at it as, oh, I just want tool changing capabilities. I look at it as multicolor and then one head for a different material, so I can do multicolor with dissimilar support material on pretty much any machine that I want. And that is, if you are an Etsy seller right now, or you want to get into that business, the Index is a heavy machine to be watching, especially on those micro printers, because you can certainly design your files to fit the smaller printers, which is totally cool. Totally cool. Now, could you, I'm thinking like a 10-head Index printing a 10-year anniversary Benchy.
Ooh, 10 colors as well. Has to be. How could we do it where it's 10 different materials? But we'll have to do it so every material has to be compatible with the next one it's touching. So you might have to cycle through them. So 10 different materials, 10 colors for a 10-year Benchy.
I'm trying to think of like all the base materials that I know that like an average printer can print. You know, so you got PLA, PETG, ABS, ASA, nylon polycarbonate. You've got PHA.
Don't forget the universal polyethylene, PE. The universal sticks to everything.
It's not ubiquitously available though.
Cleaning filament.
That's polypropylene.
I thought it was polyethylene.
It's normally polypropylene. That doesn't stick to anything.
Then why is it cleaning filament if it doesn't stick to anything?
Because it's really good at getting crap out. See, it doesn't stick to anything, but it can melt to stuff, right? I thought it was PP. Am I wrong that it's not PP? I thought
I don't know. You're making me double
TPU.
think now.
Yep, there's TPU.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was here.
PET without the G, which also means we could do the PET with the C instead of the G.
PPA, PET, PP, PVB, PVA, HIPS, TPU. That's right. We forgot Shakira because those hips don't lie. PP doesn't stick to anything. If you are trying to print polypropylene, put clear packing tape on your build plate. It is almost always made out of polypropylene, and it will stick amazingly well to the clear packing tape. I already said PHA. Chocolate!
Chocolate!
Okay, so they're...
Wait. They said they're going to come out with the Index in November, which means it's close to October, so we can get the pumpkin spice PLAs going as well.
And well, I mean, if we're going to do that, then we have to... What's that company that's got, like, the fire filament? Like, that's designed to catch fire. There's... I forget the name of that company. They've got all these, like, weird... Like...
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I remember somebody tried to make a rocket motor from it, which was amazing.
Yeah, there are a lot of potentials when you start adding tool heads onto printers, and, you know... being able to do it a time blast. Thank you, 826 Lego guy. Time blast. You know, being able to put it on small machines opens up the ability to learn about multi-tool tool changers. But because they're building kits for this, here's my assumption, okay? Let's say you want to dip your feet in, but you don't want to jump in head first. So you get a Soval 0, you put a 4-tool index on it. You learn about it, you like it. Now you want something bigger. So you buy an SV08. You take the kit off of the 0 and move it to the 8. And the 0 goes back to being a single nozzle, single extruder machine. the theory to me is that this should be, to some extent, quite easy to transfer between machines. And that allows for the average user, I'm going to the average user on this, to be able to move it and upgrade their different machines with this system. And like, you know what? That's really cool. I dig that about this industry.
I love it.
Yeah.
I actually love it. There is a reason I think it is the hottest thing this year. And it's
sir, that's the Sovol SV08 that caught fire that we talked about. I'm sorry, that was way too easy. Sovol is on top of that, by the way. I don't know if people saw the update, but Sovol has already reached out to the person. I have requested that we get the burned printer from Sovol.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I want to do a full investigation on it, and I happen to now have direct contacts to my local fire marshal, because we are looking at doing some fire testing for unrelated video stuff, and I have a feeling they might be interested in learning about it too. So I am hoping that we can make something work here, because I want to understand if the more fires that we're seeing are from consumers doing dumb crap, or if it's from the machines having like standards that are just getting lower again as pricing is being forced lower. I don't know.
It's really hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
Like customers, as much as everyone likes to think that they're good at what they're doing, are dumb. I should know. I am a customer to multiple people. I am dumb when it comes to products. But
yeah,
you also can't tell anymore. Like when the price of machines have come down so far, corners have to be cut. And if it's not paying the designer double the rate to spend double the time on the same part because it does the same job, it could just be oversights. And
it's a normal thing,
that's
right?
It could even just be manufacturing defect because they're not doing full QC because they can't afford it to get the price point. Like there's so many changes when you get to a very competitive market.
Oh yeah.
That you cannot tell if it's customer or company. And it's almost impossible. It's actually almost impossible.
It is and unfortunately I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But it will take probably regulatory things to come out. You know, and Sip of Coffee says,
I don't think it
more
will.
consumers equals more chance to F up. And I have to agree with that too, right?
I don't think legislations and compliance will fix it though, because we've already got them.
Probably not. And
not in America, but in the EU.
I was going to say not in America.
We've got machine directives. We've got low voltage directives. Like to just get CE mark, you have to do a load of testing that I'm not seeing any company other than pretty much Prusa, I think is the only company that I know as a fact have done this level of testing. And that's just for CE, let alone the UL stuff that's higher above that. But it's like, that was the sweets falling off the table.
Oh no.
Whatever will I do? But no, like, for let's take a motherboard, just the motherboard, not the printer, the motherboard, where you've got low voltage directive. Technically you might have high voltage directive if it can support 60-volt motors, so that's high voltage directive. If there's a Wi-Fi chip, you're looking at the red directive, the EMI and the EMC sub sides. And then if there is what was the other one, if there's a screen that you can attach to it, it's now multimedia. And that's its own directives. In theory, companies should be following all of those requirements, which literally says how you test it, how do you say it's safe, what results do you need to get back to say it's safe. So for us, for example, our printers are classed as multimedia devices because there's Wi-Fi, there's a speaker in the sound of a buzzer, and there was a screen. So we had to do multimedia directive.
I mean, it makes sense inherently, I guess.
You know what it found? It found we had a massive problem that none of the other tests show up because they weren't testing for
EMI?
Nope, because that's covered by the machine directive.
Okay.
It was a specific frequency that turns off pacemakers.
Well, that one might that one might be a... But
so
like,
thankfully,
normally you're not supposed to get near
it's not bad.
printers, right? With a pacemaker because of all the magnets, right? And Jacob, the real question is, how do they work? But you know, that's
Nobody
beyond
knows.
That's beyond the comprehension of the host of this podcast, and you might need to ask some individuals that are drinking Faygo how magnets work, because honestly, I am not of such an intellectual to understand any further than that. But yeah, I like on Perusia's, they've got like the, hey, if you got implanted medical devices, don't get near this.
And that is a way to comply with the compliances, by informing them, hey, this area is unsafe. For us, we were very lucky. We found out exactly which wire was causing the frequency, and following the regulations, there was a way to solve it. So we worked with, oh God, who did we work with? I'm pulling a blank. They're a massive company that supplies pretty much every capacitor and electronic component.
Nichicon?
No, completely gone in my head.
They're a manufacturer. You'll think about it when it's no longer relevant. Don't worry.
It'll be 3 a.m. I'll be snapped away.
That's what it is.
But no, like, so they worked with us and they were like, hey, you need this ferrite to go over this wire on both ends, double wrapped, connect to, run the test again after you've done it. And it went below minimum, like, measurement details. Like, you physically could not find that frequency anymore. And that's why that compliance exists, to find problems that you assumed would not be there.
Dude,
and it was
100%.
something stupid. It was just like the clock frequency on the screen was slightly off of the clock frequency of the motherboard. So they were just backchatting constantly. And that was it. So it was something really small. The screen is CE'd on its own. Right. The motherboard is CE'd on its own. But it's when you put them together, that's when the problem showed up. And that's why these regulations exist, for companies to make safe products for consumers. I'm not seeing a lot of the cheaper machines do it, though, because it is an expensive process.
I kind of want to understand how that testing goes, and then as a content creator, be able to run... Maybe they have to be Florida Man versions of those tests, but run those tests so that we can just validate. Like, I bought a thermal camera so I can validate if machines are going to get to 200 degrees Celsius where they shouldn't, right? If I have to buy more expensive multimeters or an oscilloscope and hook it up to certain places and probe certain points and understand it, and that can save lives, help people, whatever it is, brother, sign me up, but I want to understand how. If you have access to those regulatory bodies or know how to reach them, send me that info after the show, and I'll see about calling them sometime next week. And basically,
luckily, we have all of the documents as a PDF, because we have to store them to show if somebody, say a regulatory body, came to us and they go, hey, have you done this? We have to go, here is the proof we've done it, but also here is the source that we read it from to show that we read how we're supposed to do it. And we've got all of that. And it also, thankfully, it also gets doubled down when we did the UL testing, because they go over it anyway, and then they add even more things, and they even say like pass, fail, moderates, and they'll give you the numbers. Normally, companies won't supply that. We happily will, because we think safety is really important. The reason companies don't supply it, and it's also half the reason why I don't think they do it, is because technically you can reverse engineer pretty much anything from these documents, because it tells you frequencies and stuff. Or they just didn't do it in the first place and they just want to say, nah, it's secret. I'm going on that one personally.
Pip Artist said the Florida Man Juggalo Venn diagram might be a perfect circle. To be clear, not a Juggalo here. That's a very well-known ICP reference, and it was there, and I went for it. Okay, I much prefer like soul, jazz, R&B, Earth, Wind and Fire-esque music. That's what I like. Thanks. And those are very much not Juggalo adjacent. So yeah, I I want to start doing more testing because I don't want to see more issues. And if we can start kind of nipping it in the bud, and it's like, it's stupid that I, as a content creator, am looking at doing the work for the companies. But I care more about the consumers not, killing themselves because they did something stupid and they didn't know any better, and the company didn't somehow put in a safety feature. If we as content creators have to be the ones that do the testing, so be it. I mean, look at Gamers Nexus and Linus Tech Tips that are both investing heavily in testing equipment, right? There's no reason that we shouldn't be looking to do something similar. Now, I can't invest that levels of money. Certainly one of the main reasons is I don't have that level of space. But it's not unrealistic for us to do some level of testing to validate manufacturer claims, right?
I mean, just take LTT Labs, for example. How many power supplies has failed the basic testing that they said they were claimed to? And these are from big companies where they assume they've been doing it correctly.
Yep.
And that's their job, is make power supplies, and they can't do that. And no offense to power supply companies, printers are a little bit more complicated because they have a power supply and more.
Right.
So there's more areas for it to go wrong, especially when we're talking about partially shoddily built heaters to make them cheap and easy to work with, or ceramic heat breaks that don't even last 3 months. Just saying.
I have multiple.
These are oversights.
I have multiple multiple nozzles from Cheaty that have the wireless heat break mod on them.
The Bluetooth nozzle upgrade.
Yeah. They've got the Bluetooth heat break. The heat break that she tells you not to worry about, and then you are the missing heat break. So one of the other things that and since we're kind of like on this multi-tool machine thing, the IBOS dryer.
Oh, that looks
the
pretty.
IBOS dryer for the AMS. It was like, you and I both agree that like a heated AMS is like money.
It's worth it.
Right? It's
actually worth it.
And the AMS 2, it does have a heater, right? Or is it only
yes,
the HT?
It does have a heater.
Okay. So
the HT just goes hotter, but you can't use it
while you're
at all
printing.
If it's printing, which is the whole point of
that
having
makes sense.
Yeah.
IBOS said
that technology, drying while using. Ooh.
Who knew? IBOS said, F it, we're gonna make one for the OG AMS, and it actually looks really good.
What? I think they've made it look better than both of the new AMSs and the original. I just love the square lid.
The square lid is nice.
Lid looks great.
Okay, that's fair.
Lovely.
The square lid is really nice, and it looks like that it doesn't require cutting or hacking or anything like that. It's just you pull out the screws that are the opening mechanism for the lid. You put theirs on. I'm not certain if it utilizes machine power or if you have to have a secondary power source for it, but
I would assume secondary.
I would assume secondary as well.
Yeah.
But being able to
keep are power hungry.
Being able to keep 4 spools even marginally dry during a big print, especially if they're like nylon, PETG, polycarbonate, materials that are hygroscopic, TPU, although you're not supposed to use that in AMS, but whatever, you do it anyways. We all know
we'll use it anyway.
Yeah. Being able to do that, even on Bamboo's own filament, right? I think that opens up the OG AMS to being a much more venerable material, or a much more like venerable platform. And IBOS, if you're listening, I would love to see you guys work with LDO for things like the box turtle, right? Where we could have a box turtle with an integrated heater. And whether the armored turtle people that do the box turtle decide to do that themselves, or they decide to work with IBOS on it, or another dryer company, period, I don't particularly care. I want to see more of these multi-filament solutions have heaters built into them. And please, a way to get rid of that moist. Damp air. Because it's terrible. And if all you're doing is getting the moisture out of the filament and you're not getting it out of the chamber, you're not drying anything.
I hope you know when you said moist, it actually was like the perfect bass boosted sentence.
Was it really?
Oh, it came through gorgeously.
Okay. You had me at heated turtle. I saved a turtle yesterday. I was on the phone with my parents coming back from doing a 3D scan of heavy equipment. If you are in our Discord, which is at the $10 tier and higher, you did get to see me play around with some heavy equipment. And I am told that next time I go do work for these guys, and it's going to be relatively often, they're going to let me drive the Cat 352 they had out there.
That's fun.
It's 110,000-pound backhoe thing. And they were using it as a crane because they didn't have a crane. So they were using it as a crane to move like these 1,200 to 1,300 pound pieces of steel, basically. Cool thing. We used, it's right here. We used the Artec Leo to do it. And we took the parts, fully 3D scanned them. We're going to reverse engineer them because you might think, oh, it's probably because of the tariffs. No, not 100%. It's actually because they're made in Turkey. And Turkey is currently in the midst of a bit of a civil war, or they're getting close to it. And manufacturing is not focusing on heavy equipment for exterior of the country. They're focused in interior stuff. So the client's like, look, I can't wait 6 months when this equipment only goes for like 2 years before it gets destroyed. And Jacob, when he says 2 years before it gets destroyed, part of what these machines do is they drill holes in the ground, they vibrate the hell out of these holes, they collapse them. So what they do is they pre-collapse sinkholes. Okay.
Yeah.
But as they're doing it, they're backfilling it with stone. So these machines are not only vibrating, but they're also injecting stone through it at the same time.
Okay, that's quite cool.
Like, you know,
That's
the
really
guy's
cool.
like, oh, you know, we have some somewhat small parts. Jacob, the smallest part they gave me was like 10.5 inches in diameter. I'm like, this is huge in our industry. It was very funny. But it looks like this guy's open to do some bartering, so I might be doing some bartering with him other than doing that. Dreams Void asks if that's fracking. No, it's not fracking because they're not injecting it for oil. They're doing it to keep the ground from collapsing, which is a great thing to do. You don't want that, and Florida's well known for its sinkholes. And when you tend to drill holes in Florida, our soil's kind of sandy, like really sandy, and that's a problem because it collapses easily. So you normally do backfill it with stone before you inject concrete into it to set it. So yeah, I learned a lot yesterday, and I got very dirty in the process. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and we were out there a lot longer than we were expecting. The boss had to leave early, and so he gave the site supervisor's credit card and said, y'all go to lunch. You know, food and drinks are on me. So I went to lunch with the staff, and they were super cool. And I really, it is not often that I spend time on big industrial job sites and have a lot of fun and feel good about it when I'm done. Right? All of that felt good. So
there's just something about big toys and dirt that just makes you happy.
Oh yeah, like no, like don't. I'm over here like I really want to play on this. I really want to do this. But they were using it as a crane. It didn't have like any of the scooping attachments, and I want to get a bucket of dirt and then move it and then drop it. Because who doesn't want to do that?
It just sets the neurons active. It's
Right?
like when there's just an unprotected forklift. You're like, oh.
Look, some people have the
forklift
train
driver.
autism, which I got a little bit of the train tisms, but I got the heavy machinery tism, man. That stuff is so cool. They're like, I'm looking at all the stuff. I'm like, okay, this does that, this does that, this does that. They're like, how do you know this stuff? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I like stuff, man. I used to work in the drilling industry. This is kind of fun. Yeah, it was fun. It was my first kind of big test of the Leo plus a portable battery out in the field for more than 4 hours. So I was very happy about that. Winslow Joy for the $10 saying, for an ad-free stream, thank you. Remember, if you do want to contribute to keep these streams ad-free, you can do so. Just donate a couple of bucks. If you want, you can join Patreon, PayPal, YouTube channel members at the $10 tier and higher. You get to come hang out in the private Discord server. Read Luke's comments.
Oh, let's see how far up they go.
No.
You.
Where he says I had an internal interview.
Where's that? Oh, no, I'm just blind. I missed it. Okay. I had an internal interview at Deere, where part of the interview was to drive a skid steer and grade some dirt. That must have been really fun.
So I just got to mess around in a skid steer for an hour. You absolutely damn right I would do that too. Honestly,
I feel absolutely murked off. So I'm forklift certified.
I'm not.
I've got the little certificate. Do you know how long it took to get forklift certified?
I don't think
15
it's
minutes.
Long. Yeah, I don't think
it was 15 minutes. That meant after 15 minutes, they told me to get off the forklift and give it to the next person. Let me play with the forklift. Give me forklift. Whoop, whoop.
So what you're saying is if I go for my
forklift
certification, I have to be bad at it first so I get to play on it more.
Pretty much.
Noted.
Yeah.
I'm great at failing at things, so this actually doesn't seem like a bit of an issue. View at your own risk says between YouTube and Patreon, are the membership benefits all the same? Yes. I will say if you want access to the Discord, our preferred method is PayPal because they take the lowest fee. But if you are using an Apple phone and you want to pay from your phone, don't use Patreon because they are involved in the new Apple Pay stuff, which charges an extra 30% fees to you, the user, not to us, to you. So if you want to pay with Apple Pay, do YouTube or PayPal. So, yeah.
Yep.
PayPal's...
If you're on your PC, do Patreon. That's okay. But if you're on your phone, Patreon can get pretty
careful.
bad.
I don't want someone to say, oh, I want to support these guys for $10, and then they get charged, what, 13? And they're like, shystas! And that's not what I want. So, yeah. Anyways. Yeah, I honestly, whatever is most effective for you and how you would like to support us, that's great. I think the only big benefit with YouTube is that your name shows up green in the chat and you get that little icon next to you. But if you're going for the Discord, you get the same access that YouTube channel members do in the Discord. So you're fine either way. The Discord is, especially if you're running a business, a phenomenal value, but that's coming from the guy that produces the value. So there's a bit of bias associated with that.
Yeah, I'm there. It's
anyways, enough of the ad department. We'll go there in about another 20 minutes or so. You know, we got bills to pay and such. View Journal says there needs to be a 3D Musketeers soundboard because both Grant and Jacob drop some awesome one-liners. I mean, I have a little button that does that to like take the last 2 minutes that we said. That is a thing, but we haven't put it into the Discord yet. There's more degenerate stuff in the soundboard in the Discord. Klaus Mahler is asking about the candy. The candy we have decided to do on the 50K stream, coming eventually. I am so effing busy right now.
By the time we do the 50K stream, it's going to be 100K.
Shut up, Jacob.
You know it's true, though.
Shut up! Oh, man. All right. So, speaking of degenerate things, playing with big, powerful lasers at wavelengths you can't see. That's an interesting one. The Raise3D RMS 220. How do you feel about it?
What are you... Well, I am not too certain. I've not seen much of it. But the machine does look very pretty. but they always do know how to make. Honestly, black and red always looks pretty, and that red that they've chosen is really nice.
Okay, I'm not going to
But
disagree on that, but let's. These are industrial machines. You don't
you don't buy it
don't
because
judge
of the looks. You buy it
industrial
because
machines.
of the function.
Yeah, industrial machines are utilitarian. They don't look good, but they're almost always deliberately colored to not show the dirt or the dust that they produce.
There is a reason when you get into like high-end photography, you stop seeing black lenses and you start seeing beige lenses.
Yep.
And it's pretty much the same thing.
And I would almost
if your machine is beige, it's good.
The white and gray that they chose are the exact colors that show very little of the SLS powder, because these are SLS 1064 nanometer 75 watt diode backed fiber laser, which is just stupid.
It's insane. That 75 watt for a laser is ridiculously high.
I know Catlets and they're saying, oh, that's a cute little laser, because he plays the 6 kilowatt laser on a daily basis. But he's cutting metal. This is for 3D printing. Stop it. Even like the metal 3D printers don't use multi-kilowatt lasers very often. They tend not to anymore. But yeah, a build volume of 220 by 220 by 350. That is
it's pretty big.
That's a huge build volume for an SLS machine. But, big but, and I lie unless I'm under oath, I guess. What is its actual usable volume? So the thing with these affordable SLS machines, and for SLS in general, okay, it is done under heat. And you have the cake. The cake is the block of SLS powder. You have to heat it. And if you can't heat it evenly, your build volume gets shrunk. Normally, it's only in the X and Y that it shrinks because you deal with uneven heating as you get further toward the edge. We don't know if the entire build volume is accessible from this Raise3D RMS 220. If it is, the pricing looks good. It is more expensive than a Fuse 1, and it definitely doesn't look just like a Fuse 1, just a little bit bigger. But, yeah, I mean, pricing is like a few thousand more than a Fuse 1. But that's just for the raw machine. We don't have a lot of, like, known pricing yet for all the accoutrement that it needs. So, like, the Fuse 1 is like a $30,000 machine, or a little bit under 30 grand.
Yeah.
It's really about 60, because you need all these other ancillary things. You need the powder mixer, the depowdering station, the vacuums, all the little accoutrement that you need to make it function. And if this machine has that stuff, and that stuff is also more expensive than Formlabs, there might be reasons.
It's a tough sell at that point.
It becomes a tough sell, basically. Yeah.
Though, to be fair, 75 watt laser, that is a unique selling point by that. And it does make me question why. Because 75 watt is quite high for an SLS. Like, normally, like, what would you say, like 35 watt, maybe even 45? But 75 is quite high. So it is making me think that they're doing something funky inside. And it could just be that they're doing like the Galvo laser faster, so the scan speed is higher, therefore they needed more power, so then the effective density as it's going down is the same. Or they're just doing something weird with 75 watts. I have no idea.
I mean, they could be.
It is interesting. My gut feel is you put more power in to go faster, not to put more heat down.
Traditionally.
So they're probably scanning faster. Because the materials aren't really changing, and they don't really need different power levels because they've already been found. So my gut feel is they're probably going to try get some form of speed benefit with a higher speed Galvo and a higher power laser. But they could be doing something, and that can justify the price as well.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting. It's not entirely apples to apples, just because of that laser.
And like the thing that I worry about is their dimensional accuracy is a little bit lower than I want to see. They're claiming plus or minus 0.2 millimeter. So they might be running a larger spot size than most. Traditionally with SLS, you can get way tighter than that. So you might be right. Their scan speed might be something, but certainly if they're using a centralized galvo, the further you go away from that mirror, the less accurate you are. So I would bet in the center of the build chamber, you get a much tighter part than you do toward the outside. And this is why a lot of people look at going MJF over SLS, because MJF, which is multi-jet fusion, that is HP's answer to SLS. It is HP, of course, so there's ink involved in it. That is much more dimensionally accurate. However, it's not as reusable. And you might look at that and say, so they're saying with a high-speed print rate of up to 2.2 liters per hour at a 20% fill density, it significantly improves production efficiency. You might say, 20%? That's nothing. Actually, that's pretty...
That's quite high.
Yeah.
That's really high, to be honest.
Like, on industrial machines, the average you look at is between 11 and 16%. There are some that can get up into the 30s, but you start to risk warping when the higher your density goes, the more warping that you end up with. And think about it, right? If you're packing, let's say, a bunch of spheres or a bunch of benchies into, let's use benchies as our standard, right? If you're packing a bunch of benchies into a build plate, even if you're clicking them together, there's still a ton of air in these things. And so are you filling more than 20% of that bounding box? The answer is probably not. And we do a lot of parts in SLS and MJF, and it is an interesting thing. And having experience running powder printers, I can tell you, if you don't have dedicated facilities to run these powder printers, like rooms, okay?
Yep.
If you ever seen Scarface, you know when they kick in the door and there's a bunch of definitely baking soda on Tony Montana's desk, and he's got definitely baking soda all over his face. That's what your office is going to look like. But it's going to be nylon powder, and you're going to be breathing it.
Yeah, they might say
Don't
it's safe for human implantation. Human implantation is different from putting it directly in your lungs. Yeah, don't do it.
I'm sure
your lungs won't like it.
You probably have more microplastics in your body, but that's literally inhalation of microplastics. Like, don't. Yep. Although honestly, it's probably closer to macroplastics. And there's a whole shirt coming out with "You eat microplastics, I eat macroplastics. We are not the same." It is a very funny shirt, and we are excited for. We also have a plastic surgeon shirt, a couple of D-Gen shirts coming out. Luke's Laboratory says, "Don't forget about the carbon nanotubes." Yeah, bunch of BS.
If carbon nanotubes were a thing, we'd see them by now.
Yeah.
Just saying. It changes too much when you actually start thinking about the implications.
Yeah, I think it is nice to see another company kind of compete in this. Let's go. I'm going to call it medium cost SLS, because you can go get Sinterit's low cost, right? Sinterit is your low cost SLS, and I want to learn more about Sinterit. Like, I've used Elisa before, not Elisa X, the OG Lisa, and it was okay. Just okay. It was about as reliable as other 3D printers at the time. But the thing with SLS is that it is so much cheaper to run than FDM. Like, you can get powdered nylon for what, maybe
like a couple of bucks on the kilo?
Maybe. Yeah. It's not tough. And if you're
it's so cheap.
If you're willing to work and use recycled powder, you can find manufacturers that dump their old powder, and you can buy it from them for even cheaper. Just understand, recycled powder can sometimes have issues with dimensional accuracy, but if you're doing functional parts where you're okay with doing a little bit of sanding, you might be able to push that further. And do note, you do have to recycle your powder. So you might say, okay, I have a 20% fill rate. That means I have 80% left over for the next print. No. You have to
No.
continually add in virgin material. And if you are turning over your machine a lot, you will often want to throw away a portion of the powder from that build because of the heat cycling that the polymer itself goes through. Those are things to kind of keep in mind. This is why I want to start talking about more of these like industrial grade machines on the channel, because like I have experience with it and there's not many content creators that do. And I think that we present a really interesting opportunity for companies like Luke's Laboratory, that want to do this kind of thing where they're looking at potentially getting these nicer machines, but outside of trusting company marketing material, which you should never, ever, ever do.
I'm a company. Do not trust company marketing material.
Yeah, never trust it.
Only if it's third-party validated do you trust company marketing material. Because that's not the company at that point. It's somebody else.
And as a content
preferably
creator,
somebody important.
We can third-party validate it. I'll test it. I don't care.
My personal goal is I want to get an SLS machine.
Yeah.
Because A, as you said, they're really cool.
Yeah.
But also not a lot of people have experience with them.
Yep.
And I want to be able to recommend processes that are more than just this machine good, this machine bad,
Sam.
SLS good because base thing. And unfortunately, a lot of the times where I even see like users, like heavy users of SLS,
yep,
they aren't given the liberty to play with the machine because they're doing it for work.
Right.
So they can't afford for anything to go wrong, meaning they can't actually find the limits of what the machine does because they're doing the default boilerplate stuff. So I really want to get an SLS machine, and it will be just so nice to have. Like I already abuse resin printing for industrial applications because, to be honest, resin's gotten scarily good with like the chemical blends nowadays.
It has. Yeah, it has.
Like the fact that we can do the same resin on a 200-pound Anycubic instead of a 20 grand photocentric with the same resin, that astonishes me. But I haven't done it with SLS, and I really want to, because then I get the full package of SLS, MJF, FDM, and your MSLA, which will be really nice to have.
I own a big powder printer. I own a 1,000-pound powder printer, right? So like I know how to use these. I used to run 5 of them at my peak for powder printing on my own, personally, just me. And if those that run powder machines, you understand that's a lot more work than you think. View Your Order says, for the $5, thank you very much, says, I'm a new manufacturer that uses FDM. Is the Discord a good place to learn what's necessary to manage and expand a business that manufactures via FDM? I would think that it is one of the better places to get that information, because there are people there that run big service bureaus. Like we have an individual there that goes through about 50 kilos a week in the server. And then we have companies like us where we go through 10 to 20. And even though the 50 kilo guy is making more gross profit, we're actually not certain if he's making more net profit. And that's something that we've been messing around with and learning. But yes, I do think it is a phenomenal resource for that. You have manufacturers like Jacob with Constructor in there. You've got users. We even have like Printed Solid seems to have a lot of staff in our Discord now. In my defense, there were a lot less of staff in that Discord before they started hiring out of our Discord, basically. So
that's naughty. I like it.
It's literally to the point where I just have a Printed Solid tag. So if there's something with Printed Solid, I just could @ everybody that works at Printed Solid in the Discord. But yeah, I think we have some pretty cool, interesting people in there. But if you're a business and you're debating if a $10 investment is worth it, the answer might not be that it's worth it for you. Well, no, I might say that it's not. Because if you're wondering if $10 is worth it, then it probably isn't. Because you should know that $10 doesn't have a lot of value.
Yeah, if you're quibbling $10 and you're doing business, I'm actually kind of worried for your cash flow.
Yeah.
Because $10 is something you should be... I'm not going to say happy to piss away into the wind, But some of the purchases you make when you start doing business, even on the small scale, oh, it feels like pissing money into the wind. And it gets
I got an example.
very expensive very quick.
I got an example. Yeah. Here you go. Here's pissing money into the wind.
That's huge.
This is actually only 1 kilo. It's 1 roll.
Wait, really?
That's
That's really that's really effective. I'm
Yeah.
surprised how much you got out of a kilo.
Me too. It was warping more than I liked. I have now realized that I can't stop that, so there's nothing I can do about it. But it also had a couple of lines on it that I just wasn't happy with. So this is more than 2 months of access in the Discord. That's all I'm saying. And it's so yellow, it is changing the white balance on my camera. Look at the difference in that. Yeah, so
Okay, that's quite funny.
I don't actually know what I'm going to do with this. But
Like all good, responsible manufacturers, straight into the local lake.
that's how we recharge the electric eels. We throw batteries into the lake. We don't do that. That no.
It's okay. It'll biodegrade over an eventual amount of centuries.
So getting back on topic, Luke said powder printing is definitely interesting, but I'll definitely prioritize the metal powder. Yes, Luke does a lot of like SLM and other powdered metal work, and we work with an engineer that works with you. I don't know if you're aware of that. But if not, you are now. It's fine. There's no conflict of interest. Don't worry. He actually saved us.
The SLM stuff is so cool.
And dude, the SLM level of work is nuts.
Honestly,
Metal.
if I ever got access to an SLM, I'm gonna start doing some stupid things so fast.
What do you consider access? I can make a phone call for you.
Okay, well, technically, I do have access to
It does.
local services with them, and like obviously PCBWay is a click away, and they're quite cost effective for what you do. But if I had it myself, I don't have to get justification of spending money because I've already cost fallacied myself into having the machine. And there is some ridiculous, stupid things that I would do. Like for one, I want to make custom motors for like full cage, full everything with the eddy brakes, with the laminations. I think I figured a way how to print laminated eddy brakes for motors, skeletonizing the motor whilst also direct water cooling the spindle. Not just water cooling the plate, but the spindle itself.
You sure you don't work for Pantheon? You sound like the type of engineer that works for Pantheon.
Not enough money and even less sense.
We're gonna get to that HS Pro in a bit. Yeah. Jacob, I think we just need to have an episode where it's just like the entire episode is Lord's engineering lectures, right? And we do like a series on it.
Why do I have the feeling I should have like my lawyer on speed dial, just like sitting in the background going, do not talk about that bit.
You
don't talk about that bit.
Wait, you don't have your lawyer on speed dial?
Oh no. We've got him on a 5-digit code instead.
Oh, well.
I sent him an email this morning, so it's fine.
Okay.
But no, like he's already given me information like I should be starting our black book of trade secrets that aren't things we're going to patent, but things we can still sell. Like I didn't realize your filament supplier can be a trade secret.
Yes.
Like that, as a company, you can sell to a possible investor who you have found as good filament suppliers.
That's correct.
I didn't realize that because I tell everyone the same thing. If you're in the UK and you want something good, 3DQF is a really nice brand.
In the United States, you've got polar filament, atomic filament, you've got push plastic, protopasta, and of course, printed solid, right? Who's the sponsor? Our filament sponsor. You can enter in the pinned chat message for a giveaway for them. We'll give away a spool at the end of the show, but in the EU, you've got lots of options. Prushament being one of them, right?
Yep.
So, it apparently 3DQF is in here.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
I like your filament. It's very good. I've literally just... If you're the one who packaged all that red filament recently, I have literally gone through it all in 3 days. I have made thousands of little swatches we're giving away for a family event. So if anyone is going to the BC IMO Family Day event, we'll be there giving away free stuff.
I like free stuff.
But yeah, we've used it all. All our base polymer now basically comes from 3DQF because we just really like it. It's so nice and reliable.
As a business,
it prints kind of hot, and I like
fine.
materials that print hot. I like materials that print hot because they're not cutting it down. Oh, and the fact 3DQF actually tells you the base polymer. Like they will tell, here is the grade of polymer. I love it. It's a trustworthy source.
And as a business, any business, period, once you find your suppliers, stick with them, right? Like, new suppliers could come on the market that are half the price, and I wouldn't bother. I don't care. I've talked about this before, right? I care so much more about the actual value that these companies bring to us and the consistency that comes along with it, that we don't necessarily care about the price. If I know that I can reliably source the same thing every single time from a company, they're not going to randomly change base polymer on me without letting me know way ahead of time, that is worth its weight in gold. And even further, if they release SDS, TDS, all the stuff that we need to validate their materials, that's amazing, right? Some companies do, some companies don't. But for us, we've been pushing for Made in America filament for many years. We've been with Printed Solid now for quite a few years, and before they were bought by Prusa. You know, so it is nice to be able to support, the companies that didn't even know who we were when we started, but are now also supporting us, which is cool.
I mean, I've got a literal first-hand experience of, you learn theoretically, don't change your suppliers, and then you do it. And then you realize why the sentence don't change your suppliers exists. So we went from Filamentive, which is another really good UK brand of filament, a bit pricey, but very high quality as well. And we went to One for PETG for a couple of months, and that was actually quite good. I do like the One stuff. For
a lot
PETG,
of these
it's quite high quality.
Made outside of, you know, your local countries. A lot of them are going to be made in China. The filament quality is not bad. There are some that are like questionable, but for the most part, filament is filament is filament. Like, don't get me wrong, I will absolutely grab the $5 or $10 a kilo filament off Amazon for personal projects when it goes on stupid sale, because what the hell, it's $10. I've spent more money doing dumber crap, so let's have some fun.
Yeah. But no, like, so we kept changing filament suppliers for a good, I want to say 5 months. We kept changing suppliers. So we went from One to Elgu. We tried 2 unknown brands that I can't even be bothered to remember their name. We tried PO Poly, apparently has a filament line, so we tried some of them. We tried, my favorite was Rigid Ink, which sadly no longer exists anymore. But what was happening was, while I made the decision of, hey, we need black PETG, here's my initial supplier, Mum saw the price tag, was like, well, if we're going through 30 to 50 kilos a month, this supplier is £1 cheaper per kilo. So we're going to try them. Here is 10 reels, put them on the machines. And it happened multiple times. And every time it would happen, I'd have to stop the entire production run and dial in the new material because it will be slightly different. And it basically turned around going to my mum saying, we've wasted hundreds of pounds now because I had to turn the machines off.
Business is more about time than money.
Isn't worth it.
You can get
and
more
then
money.
It got even worse. We had a small batch. Thankfully, we only use these internally. These never went out to customers, because do not send tester material out to customers because of this reason. One of the PETGs was brittle. It embrittled over time ever so slightly. And if you just trust it as, oh, it's the same material from a different supplier, you might end up shooting yourself in the foot. And in this case, we changed to a material that was 50 pence cheaper per kilo. Not even that much money.
No.
And then we had to scrap all of them because they were brittle after being produced and
I don't even
leaving on
care
the
about
shelf for a
the
couple of days.
cost of that filament, man. It's the time. It's the freaking
It's the
time.
time.
It's always
It's the time to dial it in. It's the time to like guarantee it's going to do the same job over time that you've already qualified with another material.
Yep.
Like even if I knew as a fact, let's take 3DQF versus 3DQF2. It was so good they named it twice. Just changing from company that to company that, I would say no now. Even if I know they're the same material and they're from the same people, from the same company, with just two different, I will not risk that change because it's not worth it.
Nope.
And that, once you have your supplier, stick with it. And it just makes life so much easier.
Always.
If you're trying to save money cutting corners with filament, you've probably made a mistake somewhere further down the pipeline. That's meaning you're thinking about cutting money in the one area you shouldn't be cutting money.
Always
look at your design.
Always look at saving time. Saving money is it's a fool's errand. Look at how you can save time, in my opinion. Right. We have our African prince, Yusuf Nani, because he said it was African prince money, so I can make that joke. Yusuf here saying, when you get free stuff, you give it away, so please give free stuff to Grant. Thank you, sir. With the mad 50. That's Moroccan. So he's from Morocco. Yusuf is in our Discord. He's an awesome individual and well part of the D-Gens. So. As Luke says, time is too short. That's why big printers with big melt zones are important. Tube. It's like it's easier for me to throw away this object that costs XX and just put in a new one. It is totally easier. Yep. And if you have big printers with big melt zones, you can print big parts fast. We don't have a lot of that here. I have more issues with environmental problems than we do with, like, I can run my printers faster, but because we have so much humidity, a lot of PEI doesn't work as well as it does in more dry climates. It's like we did a little short on using the magic eraser to clean the build plates. People are like, why do you do that? They work fine as they are. Because when you have high humidity, PEI doesn't stick as well as it does when it's dry. So if you're up north, you might notice your prints stick better during the winter, assuming your ambient temperature is not too crazy, because PEI absorbs moisture. And when there's no moisture in the air for it to absorb, it's good to go.
So here's the thing that I do personally, and I've never talked about it because I just assumed you do, but now I'm not entirely sure. Do you bake your PEI before you print on it?
Like preheating it and letting it soak?
No, not letting it soak, like overheating it. Like, so if you're printing PLA, heat it up to 110 degrees and then bring it back down?
No, we don't.
Oh, I do that. So I found that if there is any like moisture deposit on it, because obviously the UK is a very wet country, I'm pretty sure it's like very similar humidity. 44% on the inside. I'm going to check now, Mike.
Which I still think this one's about 10%. I've never seen it this low in here, so I don't think that hygrometer is working properly, but that's my personal thought.
I went bougie, and I've got a little Apple HomePod Mini, specifically just because it's got a temperature sensor and a humidity sensor built into it.
I do like the idea of hot baking the plates, though.
So yeah, 28 degrees, 56% humidity.
I think I'm
so
up in
it's
the
a
50s.
moist thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would before print job, just heat up to 110 and then let it naturally cool back down. And I find the chance of it adhering is much higher because you've already heat soaked it because you've overheated it and then you've let it return. But if there is any moisture or grub that is built up on the surface, it just boils away.
And I guess we're apparently covering your name with the product pin. I didn't know that.
Buy the product and it will disappear.
Will it?
I don't know if that would happen, but buy the product. Oh. There you go.
Okay. So back to the SLS machine. I reached out to Raise. I'm hoping that we can get one to test with because I want to show it off. And I want to show people more of these higher end machines. I like
especially as the
idea.
community is getting slowly more higher end.
Yeah.
As jobs are requiring printers more often now.
Yep.
And while we started as a community and a hobbyist, if your employer is thinking about printing, they're probably not thinking about getting 300 quid Centauri carbons. They are probably thinking about going high. I mean, to be fair, they're probably thinking about both, depending
It's
on
funny
which
because I'm
level
over
they're
here
thinking
like,
on.
man, that Centauri carbon really does look like. But I'm like, oh,
It kind of is good.
How much money?
But remember, the user is not the one buying it. It's
Right.
the boss who expects a certain price point, or the finance department that goes, yes, we've budgeted this much, and you must.
But what if you're the boss
that
and the
much.
user?
Yeah, but then you're a hobbyist again.
And Kisker said, but will it last? A business, you don't care, right? Like,
Nah.
I finished a print job this past week. It took less than a week, and it not only paid for the entire printer that did the job, but I still had profit on top of it. I don't give a damn how long the machine lasts anymore. As long as it doesn't keep breaking $20 nozzles!
That's how they got to earn their money.
Yeah, that's absolutely how cheap.
Feed a nozzle to the machine. Every kilo, new nozzle.
I'm like over here, just like taking a nozzle, going, eh. Yes, I did just throw a nozzle at a printer.
Careful, it will consume the nozzle.
I gotta go pick that up later. Remind me to go pick that up.
Oh. But talking about repair versus replace, one of the things that actually hurts me as a designer is as we're working on Construct 2, we're doing it in a way that while you can repair the print head, we've actually got it on a quick release because we expect most industrial users would rather bin a £200 print head and just bolt a brand new one in place than spend the 5 to 8 minutes to change the nozzle out. They'd rather just take the entire thing off and put a new one on. That's industry.
I used to buy V6 and Volcano Hotends from a buddy who ran up in Michigan, he just strictly ran carbon fiber. It's all he ran. Just buttloads of it. He basically took carbon fiber nylon off the line at 3D X-Tech and just fed it right into his machine. And that's what he was doing. He used to sell me filament boxes full of clogged nozzles, hot ends, heat breaks, heaters, thermistors, I would pay by the weight. Wouldn't pay by what's in there. He would bill me by the weight. And so I paid the amount of money that I would pay for the filament, $20 a kilo. So I have a few $1,000s worth of hot ends and things that I do a cold pull on, right? And so what I would do is when I would clog stuff up, I had a little bucket. It was a cup. When that cup got overfilled, I would take an afternoon. I'd grab my blowtorch. I'd go out to the garage and I'd start torching nozzles and hot ends and cold pulling, and you'd get it all done in a couple hours and you had ready to go stock to go back into inventory. And what we did is we ran through used inventory and we would put scratches on the heat blocks and stuff like that. So if it had more than 3 scratches on it and it clogged again, it's gone. It's in the bin. Because there's clearly something now going on with it. It's not worth it anymore. It goes into the bin. It only happened a couple of times, and I think that was probably when I did something stupid. So, Luke said if a nozzle can't come out simply, just remove the whole thing. Yep. Agreed.
Yep.
Russ with the
not
$10.
Worth trying to clean a blob of doom. Just rubbish the head, get a new one, lock it on, get back to production.
Like when your ceramic heat break snaps, it's not. See, the problem is then you have the top of the hot and you have the top of the heat break stuck and you have to push it out from the top. It sucks. Yeah, I have the stainless steel nozzle back in the Cheaty because I have one of the early units that came with the stainless steel.
It's annoying because it's not a painful thing to change. It's just tedious.
It's a pain in the ass.
It's annoying.
It's a pain in the ass.
And the moment you get painful and annoying and it not even complicated, just is the moment people don't do it.
Yep. Russ with the $10, thank you, sir. Greatly appreciated. And yes, you're right, Jacob. The moment it becomes tedious, it's the moment people don't do it. And that is why The Bamboo A1 and H2D with that single little lever to change it out, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I want more companies to do that. I looked at the neck extruder and said, this is amazing. This is so much easier to change out the hot end. And Bamboo's like, yeah, you want easy? Here's easy. I gotta give credit where it's due. But I want to look at doing more powder. We're looking at expanding either between a steel building or a container or two. And powder is, we're gonna have a dedicated space for powder. Right? That is
has to be dedicated.
What's going
powder
to
is so messy.
So yeah, now with being able to get HEPA filters for woodworking really cheap, this is what we would use every single time. You get those air scrubbers made for woodworkers, just put better filters in them. Or you use a CR box, a Corsi Rosenthal box. Those will work reasonably fine too. I used to have a pharmaceutical grade fume hood. Hurricane Milton decided that I didn't need that anymore. Now I still have it. It's just not protected anymore. So I'll be very curious to see if it works in 6 months when I end up being able to move it, because it weighs...
Oh, it'll be fine.
It weighs 550 or 600 pounds. It weighs a lot. I bet it will still work. And it's made of stainless. Like, it's not going to rust.
Fine.
I think
Florida doesn't rain that much. It'll be fine. Doesn't it? I thought Florida was like notorious for having like just a rainy season and that's it.
It's raining. It's rainy season all the time, but you have to remember how humid it is here.
That is
it's
true.
Like 80% ambient humidity outside. So right now I have warnings for high UV. Give you an idea. It is 75 Fahrenheit. That is 25 degrees Celsius, 0% chance of rain, and the humidity 87%.
Yeah, that's kind of
the
more,
air is
more,
the air is thick. It's like breathing in Guinness. The Nocturnist with $20 saying, because I can, and you put up with my shit. P.S. I still want Victoria stickers. See what I can do.
Do we not have Victoria stickers?
We do. We just don't have an easy way to sell them, because that would require me to go to the post office, and I don't want to go to the post office all the time. I'm busy, and there's time involved in that. So yeah, I have some questions about this Raise3D printer. I would love to be able to kind of side-by-side it with a Fuse 1, but I'm not cool enough for a Fuse 1. Maybe I'm cool enough for the Raise3D. We'll see. But I would like to start showing off more professional-grade printers on this channel. I think it's a valuable resource for those that want to do more high-end work, but not necessarily spend 110 grand on a P110 from EOS, right? They want something that they can kind of dip their toes into the water, see if they like it, and worst comes to worst, they resell it at a slight loss. No big deal. You know. Any final thoughts on that?
No, I'm just really excited to see another competitor in this scene. There really isn't many in this. And I think you're right to class it as a medium industrial sector.
It absolutely is.
Like it's not the cheapest of SLS out there. And it's not trying to be, because this looks good. Like, actually does look good. So, yeah, I'm just happy to see another competitor. I'm very interested to see what the 75-watt laser effectively is. And from what I know with the engineers from Raise3D, that 0.2 mil accuracy is probably, now obviously don't listen to company claims, but my gut feeling is that they're actually probably underselling it.
I hope they are, because if they're overselling it, they're going to have problems. The only concern that I currently have is a company that is not as used to doing industrial level service and support is all of the sudden playing an industrial level service and support, and that can be an issue.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to have a couple meetings at GBIRE, where it's the UK reseller for a lot of the industrial, like medium format industrial. And I was talking with some of the engineers because they were doing maintenance on Raise3D machines. And the one thing that became very obvious very quickly is while the machines are very well built, they weren't designed with a maintenance. They weren't designed with maintenance plans in mind, even though they were selling them with maintenance plans. So
a lot of companies do that, and
now this was a while ago. It can easily be a learning experience that they have learned. So I'd be very excited to see what they've done and changed and improved on, especially as they've raised their price point for this sector. And honestly, I wish them luck because it's good to see another competitor. And the machine, it does look good. I like white machines. There's something nice about white and beige.
I say it should, if it is what I hope it is, it's a slightly off white, because SLS powder is not the pure white that people think it is. It is a slightly
it's like
off
a bone white almost.
Yeah, it is. It's about a bone white. It is me after a winter of never going outside.
It's a 1.5-year-old Game Boy. There we go.
Yeah, that's a good one. TechJeeper says stickers can go in an envelope in your mailbox for pickup. If you're only sending a couple, yes, but we have quite a few, and I got yelled at the last time I tried to do that. They said, you have to bring them in! Like, okay, sorry. Oops. So let's grab that billing department, and then we'll get back and we'll talk about the Trackit, the RevoPoint Trackit. So
I'm very excited for that.
I am too, and I've got a lot to say about it because there are some things, and they're not all good, but I got some things to say about it. And RevoPoint, if you're watching, I want one, and I want to show how useful it is, because not everyone can just grab a $35,000 scanner and have proper trigger discipline on it. You know, at their hand, and even less of them can grab and drop a $20,000 one. But I have more than one, so I don't care.
But remember, it's beige, therefore it's good.
It is beige! As always, this podcast is currently sponsored by Construct3D, and if you want to get some of the UK's fastest 3D printers, you can do so by going to construct-3d.com, clicking that link in that description down below. I hope I didn't actually hurt that scanner. I probably didn't. But if you do want to get some of UK's fast printers, check out Construct3D, links down below. And if you do want to see what it is like touring the ever-effervescent Construct3D, you can do so by checking out our YouTube channel, where we have an entire video, which Jacob is still proud of the fact that it has more views than the actual Prusa tour that we did. So, you know, there's... But that just means I got to do a better Prusa tour. You know, and they actually give a damn about their safety and build quality of their machines. If you don't believe me, go watch the video. And if you've listened to more than one of these episodes and still don't believe that, well, then Jacob's a very good liar as far as you're probably concerned. But in my...
I am a good liar. I lie to myself every day that I'm pretty and I do a good job.
That's right. That's right. You don't got to be pretty to be efficient. That's what I say every day when I wake up in the morning. If you do want to support the efforts that we do here on the channel, you can do so by joining for as little as $1 a month. Links in that description down below. YouTube, Patreon, PayPal, all that good stuff. We just released the cup of behind the scenes, over 11 minutes of tea drinking action. So if you do want to take a look at that, you can. And there will be more behind the scenes content coming for you relatively soon, including, you know, early access to videos. We review them live in the Discord before they go out to the public, and $10 and higher a month gets you into that Discord. Don't forget to check out our Filament sponsor as well, Printed Solid, printedsolid.com. They make Prushament in America as well, but we do also give away their Jesse filaments. Don't forget to enter the pinned comment for the giveaway. So, did I hit all the sponsors? That hurt when that printer, or when that thing hit me. Did I dent it at all?
For 20 grand, I hope it's not hurt. I'd rather you get hurt.
No, the optics. I know the optics are fine. They're they're shock mounted, but I'm like, so it's used. Oh yeah, okay. There's a little tiny. It
Oh,
could
a
have
little
been
love
there.
tap.
I assume maybe it was, but yeah, it's an Artec Eva for those wondering. We have 2 of them because back when we were running Evas, it made more sense for us to have 2 of them than it did to hope that one of them always worked. Founder said, Grant, you grew out your hair for charity. Would you consider doing the same for your beard? Gandalf beard when? So my brother grew
Oh,
out.
that'd be fun.
My brother grew out his beard, and it really didn't look good.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun is watching you slowly turn into a literal goblin on
Yeah, that's
camera
fair.
over time.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh yeah, and I forgot to talk about our merch. We have merch now. Yeah, 3dmstore.com or shop.3dmusketeers.com. I really don't want to. I was growing out the mustache because we were going to be doing a Ren Fair thing where I was going to dress up as a musketeer.
Oh,
but
you're gonna...
yeah, so like, you know, it is long enough to do right now, but I haven't started the twirling, right? Because like I don't know. I have to clean it up a little bit first, but yeah, I have been growing that, and you know, it started to actually connect to the rest, even though there's like nothing grows there. So I've thought about it, but man, ultimately I don't know if I would like that. And there's absolutely a portion of growing out a beard, the same way of growing out your hair, that you look like an absolute moron.
Yep.
Right. So I'm trying to avoid that. And my hair was for almost 4 years. Yeah, almost 4 years.
It got really long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. It was down to like here when it was straight. So that was fun. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, you probably don't want me with like a ZZ Top beard. Like, I'm not as cool as Steve builds. Or I'm not as cool. So, you know,
get your little like beard braids and little beard like
I'm not
beads
doing
and
that.
everything.
If I'm doing anything, I'm gonna get like a little baby bird or something that lives in the beard.
But you could print them. You could print stupid little braids. Do it.
That's like printing out the things for the Crocs. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not.
I printed a ring before. Like literally, I had a jet black suit get up for one of my meetings, and I was like, I need a ring to match, just to, like bring the entire outfit. I even like got black Aftershocks headphones, so it was the whole black get up. And the only thing I had was a silver ring at the time, so I actually printed a double bar finger ring, and it looked really cool. And that was it. It was like, yeah, I've done that in the bin. It's done. I did the job. I looked like I was expensive. I completely faked my way through multiple business meetings with 3D printed jewelry.
Mike Jones says he wants to see a rainbow dyed beard. I have a photo. I need to make sure that I can actually show it on the channel. Let me find it and let me see if there's any evidence in there that I can't show. And if there isn't, I will show you what I look like with a neon rainbow beard. But I need to be very certain that I'm not going to upset some individuals by showing this. But am I?
Mitch L asking when
not.
am I releasing the new construct printer? When it's ready. We're not rushing it.
Let's let that focus.
Focus.
There you go. That's what I look like with like neon paint in my beard. For something that I can say nothing more about than that. I cannot mention anything else about why that's like that. There is no video of it. Do not ask. You will not get to see any of that, but I did have to go back and find it. Yes, that is all. I did neon all over my hands. It was a thing. Rave Grant, you're on the right track actually. But yeah, that was a while ago. Anyways, RevoPoint Trackit. What do you think?
I haven't actually. The problem with me is I don't use scanning tools very often. I use photogrammetry.
Yeah,
as it's like a very easy to access.
It's good and cheap.
You can literally go if somebody needs something there and then take it with your mobile phone.
Yep.
Otherwise, use your DSLR camera and get some nice high quality. It gives you a lot of flexibility. The downside, however, is it's not an actual scanner. so it doesn't have the resolution, it doesn't have the usability of an actual scanner. The
Yep.
Trackit looks interesting, and the problem is I just don't have the experience. I love the fact that you can carry what looks like just a straight up Tron device
Yeah.
with all of the tracking dots around it,
And you
and I
put dots
don't
on the
know
object.
why. So I'm going to need you to explain to
Sure.
me, definitely, because I'm going to pretend I already know, and it's for YouTube, and definitely not because I actually have no clue what I'm looking at.
Sure.
Please
So
explain.
before we talk too much about it, I want to point out the fact that RevoPoint is not the first to do this. Creaform was. So Creaform did this, and it works identically. So grain of salt, however you want to do with that. So the system has two key components. It has the tripod mounted dual camera system, and then it has the ball with a bunch of dots on it with the laser scanner. So the actual arm thing on the tripod, those are what is actually doing the scanning. The ball is positional accuracy. And the ball with the lasers, see, if you notice, the ball also has cameras on it. Those cameras detect the laser. So what it's doing is it's taking both the ball and the laser and putting them together so the ball becomes the tracking. Now, the trick with these systems is that they can work in any orientation, any direction, as long as they can be seen. The problem with them is you can't scan big objects. You are heavily limited at the size of things that you can scan in one go. You can scan big objects, but you're doing multiple scans to do it. The Artec Leo, on the other hand, doesn't have this problem because everything is self-contained inside of the scanner. Now, this is a structured light scanner. It is not a blue light laser scanner. Blue light laser scanners are significantly better at getting high detail. And they've got the crosshatch lasers and they have the single line laser. Single line laser is good for getting deep into holes, where the crosshatch is good for getting lots of surface detail and getting it fast. This system, the Trackit, I'm guessing is going to be somewhere in the $2,500 to $3,000 range. I could be wrong. I don't know. But when you look at the Leo at $34,800, it's a big difference in price point. And I would say as long as you have a controlled environment, the Trackit will do a better job. The Leo will do it faster. Way faster. Like way, way, way faster. Because you don't have to set things up over and over and over again. Right? So that's a big thing with these tripod Trackit style machines. You're limited in the FOV that you have, but inside of that FOV, that field of view, you have loads of resolution. So you're much better than traditional blue light scanners, and because you don't have to put on tracker dots, and then more specifically, take them off, it is a better overall user experience, and setting up and moving the tripod is often well within acceptable limits, because doing that takes way less time than applying and removing tracker dots. Neat. So, I guess obviously there is that Kickstarter, disclaimer, right? It's put money to it that you don't care about. If you can set it on fire and enjoy the heat, then go for Kickstarter. RevoPoint always does Kickstarters. I would say they're probably the safer in terms of Kickstarter. I'm not a huge fan as to how RevoPoint uses Kickstarter for marketing, but whatever. We've gone away from it. Everyone is
They've got a good track record.
Yeah, they do. They have a great.
That's the main thing. They've got a good track record.
Everybody's saying number 5 is alive. Yes, for the older community out there, this is Johnny 5, and for the younger, it's Wally. Right? It just kind of depends. Hold number 5 by the neck. I mean, I can hold it here, and it's actually designed to be held from here too. You want to see a really, really dumb design feature on this scanner?
Go.
So it has the screen, right? The screen can fold down. Okay. So if you're scanning something from high up, you can see it.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah,
but it
I can
doesn't
get
fold
that.
up. So if you're scanning something low, you can't see it. But the scanner has a gyroscope in it, so you can just flip the scanner over and it does the same thing. So
okay, I'll give it that. That's kind of neat. That's kind of neat.
You want to have some fun? The battery that this scanner uses is $900.
Why?
Because Artec. They sell a case. They sell a case for this made for biomedical stuff for $1,500.
Oh my god.
Yep.
I would rather solder a barrel jack onto that than buy another battery at that rate.
It's got one. It's got a barrel jack.
Oh. Well, look at them taking my stupid idea into reality.
Except it is 19 volts.
Like, oh, so it's a weird voltage
19
as well.
volts, 4.74 amps, but in my testing of it, so like when we go out, we take a little EcoFlow battery with us to recharge it, because it only goes for about 4 hours on battery, and I don't have extra batteries for it because expensive.
Yeah.
I just plug in that charger, and when I'm running the scanner and it's charging, it's only like 56 watts, so it's actually not too bad.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, no, it's not. But again, I have
that makes me wonder if the voltage is just because it's got like dual voltage charging instead of needing the actual voltage now,
or it drops to 18. Like I don't know for sure. And I know who manufactures the batteries. I can just reach out to them. They're actually in Florida, which is funny, but nonetheless, the Trackit. So Shining 3D has something like this, and they've had something like this for a while. Obviously, Creaform was the first ones to do it. RevoPoint will come out. The big thing with RevoPoint, and is the thing that I always remind people of. I don't care how good your scanner is. If your software is garbage, the experience is garbage. That is what manufacturers need to understand. RevoPoint, I'm looking at you. You guys have made some absolutely stunning hardware with absolutely abysmal software, and it's not really worth the wait, right? A lot of people want to get 35% off of the scanner now, but they don't want to wait for when the software is good. So they buy the scanner cheap, and then it collects dust for 6 months until the software is usable. I'm not a fan of that, personally. And that's why my Artec scanner, $34,800, has a $1,700 a year software package.
Holy shit.
You can
That is a lot, but does it work?
Oh, it's amazing.
That's the main thing.
It is amazing.
Then it's worth it.
It is amazing.
That'll pay itself back.
I wish that I could. I would buy another license seat for Artec Studio if they would let me use it with other scanners.
Ooh, yeah.
But
because that's the big thing. Like, obviously, I do the photogrammetry side. There's not really any good photogrammetry software out there. The closest that I've got to it. So I've used that. It was okay, but this was like 8 years ago now. So it's probably changed since. The one that I've recently been using a lot of, and it's pretty all right, is 3DF Zephyr.
Okay.
And that one seems to be quite good. That and the free version. So if anyone wants to try photogrammetry, you can use up to 50 photos for free, as many times as you want, as long as the maximum amount of photos is 50, which is quite a lot, actually, if you know what you're doing.
You want at least 12. 24 is where it starts to get decent. 36 is better. I mean, I've done 72 DSLR camera arrays before.
Yeah. Like 50 is a good high number to get decent results. Like, are you going to be scanning an entire car? No, it's photogrammetry to start with, and 50 is not enough for that.
Yeah.
But if you're doing something small or medium size, 50 is a lot. Like, you can take 50 and you'll get good.
Yep.
That's the big challenge I have, is trying to find good software. And if you can get good software for the scanners, it makes your life so much easier. Because honestly, the difference between taking the photos and getting a good output is all the software. and I'm assuming it's the same for the lasers and the regular scanners, is if the software is ass, the scanning is ass.
So like I've taken my Raptor down to Shining 3D because they have Control X over there because they're a reseller of it. And so that's a $17,000 piece of software per year. So I don't own it, obviously. And you can't find it going sailing. If you can find it on a sailing adventure, someone like hit me up because I would like an extended trial of it. Thanks. Because if buying it is not ownership, then piracy is not a crime. So
you're right though.
That's yar matey.
As an ex-game dev, all my game dev friends say the same thing.
Yeah.
We would rather you pirate it than buy it from Ubishite and they will cancel it after several months.
So I went down there, we did some scanning, and we found that the Raptor has about a 27 micron accuracy, which is...
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's amazing. That's tremendous.
Like,
but it's the OG Raptor, not the Raptor Pro or whatever they're calling it now, but the OG Raptor is that. And but its FOV is so small it takes forever to scan stuff. We compared it to the free scan combo, which is like close to 30,000. And the free scan combo, we were scanning a helmet. Scan the helmet in under a minute. It took me almost 10 to do it with the Raptor. So, very, very different.
Quite a time difference.
It is, but it's also quite a price difference. It's, 1/30th the price. The thing is, the Raptor won't give you certifiable results. The free scan combo will. My Artec Leo gives me legitimate certifiable results with 3D scanning. I can take what comes off of the scanner, put it into Artec Studio, and those numbers that it tells me, those are certifiable. It will tell me how big something is and what its known accuracy is. And I can certify against those numbers. I can actually insure against those numbers if I wanted to. Mind you, if you want to calibrate this, you have to send it back to the factory, or you can pay $3,500 to get the calibration plate to do it yourself.
I'm just not going to calibrate it.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be going out of calibration by that much.
They can.
Like, what can go out of calibration?
You can
like
drop
the
them.
sensor?
Like I just
Yeah,
dropped the EVA.
How does that affect it?
It moves around.
I
The cameras can move around a little bit. And when you're dealing with things like blue light laser scanners, it's a big deal. Right? So the Leo's only good for like 250 microns. But when you realize it doesn't need anything, right? It needs no tracker dots. It needs nothing, right? And it can operate in broad daylight, right? That's fine. With a blue light laser scanner, you could easily hit 50 microns and not even try. So yeah, even a slight movement, when you consider where those two cameras, where those points meet, where its ideal scanning distance is, that can actually translate to real world accuracy loss. But I also don't believe that there are people that are doing metrology grade scanning with these cheaper scanners, specifically because they're difficult to certify, and even further, the software often isn't worth the struggle. I will say though, the Trackit, it's carbon fiber. The handheld thing is all carbon. So it's very, very lightweight, which, having used the Creaform one, I always call it the Creaform ball. That's not what it's called, but I always called it that. Because it looked like a ball. It's not carbon fiber. It was very heavy, and it was a pain in the ass. The Leo is about 5 pounds. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's weighted really weak.
Holding that out,
yeah,
that's going to get really heavy.
When you have 5 herniated discs like I do, it sucks.
I mean, if anyone's ever done like videography, and they've just had like a regular camera, like this is at most 3 pounds, I'd say. Like it's not very heavy.
It hurts.
And you're just holding it like that for even 30 minutes.
Yep.
Like even now, I'm already feeling the strain just slowly starting to pull it down.
Yep.
As time goes on. Like this gets heavy quick, and this is light. Like this is like really light. Like there's nothing to it.
my hope with the Trackit is because it looks like, so on the actual tripod mount, I have it open on a second screen here, that they've got light sources on it. So they might also have projector sources. So I'm not certain if those light sources are visible or if they're infrared.
I'm gonna guess infrared, and they're bouncing it off the tracking dots
Off
of
the
the
dots.
ball for positional accuracy. Because that it's similar to how laser base stations work for that.
Totally understand.
I'm gonna say it's that. Though it would be neat to see if you could get some form of exceedingly high speed, moderate accuracy scanning with something that big.
So here's my thought, right? One of the big issues with doing multi-step scanning is alignment. So these big parts that I was scanning yesterday, aligning them sucks. They're so heavy that we had to put them on a pallet because they would basically dent everything else we put them on. So I've got this wooden pallet under it. Artec Studio software is good enough that I don't have to really struggle all that much. But when you're dealing with where you have to actually move the base station to, you'll often want some overlap. That overlap, if you put a few stickers, like tracker dots, on the object, that enables you to track things. Now, with the Leo, I just put blue tape, right? So if I need to do a circular object that has a pin in a specific location, maybe that pin is also on the other side, but I want to make sure that the sides line up properly, I'll put a piece of blue tape on it, because my scanner also does texture detail. So I can line it up for geometry and texture. It'll pick up the thickness of the tape and it'll pick up the texture. The ultra trick is regular like masking tape that you've drawn squiggles on.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, so you get the color there too. But I also have magnetic dice with tracker dots on them. I've got similar to the little pyramid things they have. I have similar systems like that too, where I can just stick dots on. And if your scanner can do structured light, it can also do tracker dot alignment. So I am hoping that they have a good way to do multi-scan alignment, because the tripod can't move. During the scan, it cannot move. If it moves, your whole scan is screwed. You worry about ambient temperature with this kind of stuff, because as the arm swells, and it will swell no matter what it's made of, it's going to swell a little bit, your accuracy gets lower, right? And you also have to make sure that the globe dingus is always visible to the tripod mounted arm. It always has to be visible. If it is missing,
it would be nice to see if they could have two of those tripods. So if anyone's ever done VR, where it's like the valve system and you put one base station, you can get valve systems to work with one base station. They are all right. But you will suddenly learn how easy it is to occlude pretty much anything with just movement. Like if you're scanning this and you go, oh, I want to go there, you've occluded it if it's behind you. Like it's as simple, and you won't be cognizant of yourself doing it.
Nope.
And that is the big risk that I see, is one point of scanning for the source becomes very easy to occlude.
Yep.
Even if it's just like moving it in a weird area or your other arm getting in the way, that can occlude it. And yeah, I'd like to see if you could get two tripods. And that would also help with the scanning range, because then you get a bigger area and you can do for multiple points.
You probably can, but they'll have to have overlap over each other. Otherwise, the pass wouldn't occur. The thing that I think people aren't realizing is, even though it is carbon, the distance you have to keep it away from your body is going to suck. The distance you have to keep it to the object is going to suck. It's like, we have a steady arm. Like an actual body-mounted Steadicam arm rig, like you see at professional sports events, right? So I have it's a fly cam. I forget what it's called. I know I can go get parts of it. But I bought it, one, so that Amber can have something that's a little more comfortable for her, but it's pain in the ass to travel with, so we don't travel with it. But two, even though this doesn't have a 1/4 20 mount on the bottom, which really sucks, This is all known sizing, and I can build something this clicks into, so that I can put this on the Steadicam arm, and then I can just move a 0-pound steady arm where I need to move it to do my scanning. And so like that's, and I paid very little money for it. I paid like $80 for it. I didn't pay a ton. I bought it secondhand. I bought it out of a storage unit. And it's probably like $400 or $500 arm. I would expect that there will be solutions for arms like that for this. Because as your body moves, as you're worried about moving around, the ability to also make sure that you're not occluding the dots is harder than you think. So, yeah. I do think it's a cool scanner. I am very worried about its software implementation. Like RevoPoint, please. One, my contact, I would love to continue working with you guys, but if you want me to do a video comparing the RevoPoint Morocco Plus to the Artec Leo, as we discussed, I'm happy to do it, but you can't send me a contract that states that I can't compare your scanners to other scanners after we've already agreed that I can compare it to other scanners. That doesn't work for me. I understand you told me to ignore that part, but I need you to rewrite the contract, and then I'll do it.
Yeah,
Like,
at the end of the day, a contract's what's written in the contract.
Right.
You can't just say, oh, just
like,
ignore
what's the
it.
worst they're going to do? Ask for the scanner back. It is what it is. Right? But, like, the Morocco Plus is much better than what it was when I first saw the OG Morocco. But it took a while. And so while you can save 35% on this, I am worried regarding software implementation. But something that RevoPoint, Shining 3D, Creality, and a lot of the 3D Maker Pro, they all do the one thing that I wish more companies would do. They have free software and it's unlimited licensing. Yeah. So I can have a scanning laptop that I take with me that is maybe not the greatest laptop on the planet, but it is enough to obtain the data. Then I can bring it back, use it on my desktop, which is much more powerful, and do it that way. Artec doesn't let you do that. You have a locked license key. It is locked to a computer. You can move it, but they say eventually it will not allow you to move it anymore. They don't tell you how many times that takes for it to occur.
That's kind of scummy.
I don't like it. Their goal is to get you to buy more licenses, and I get that, but I don't want to. Mind you, Artec is approaching this like you're spending $35,000 on a scanner. Who gives a damn if it's another $1,500 a year to have another license, right? I look at this and say, I shouldn't have to do it. I'm looking at it from a small business, light industrial, not big industrial, where the Artec Leo, which, yes, there's someone saying, is that really 34 grand? Yeah, it is. $34,800. You can look it up. It's the Artec Leo. It is legitimately that expensive. And that is not my most expensive scanner. My most expensive scanner is 60 grand. And it is also from Artec, although it is technically a surfacer. There's a whole thing about that. But I don't like that softwares get locked like that. I understand why they do, but I don't have to like it to understand it, right? And so I think RevoPoint does that right. And I am sure that the hardware for this is going to be amazing. RevoPoint has always knocked it out of the park with hardware. I am just praying that they can get at least a half-decent software suite on launch, because otherwise you're going to get a lot of FOMO for these machines, and I will happily buy one up on eBay for less than the Kickstarter price in 6 months when the software still isn't any good. So I'm hoping it gets better. But RevoPoint, I want to work with you guys. I have experience working with high-end scanners. I literally have $50,000 scanners sitting on my desk that I can easily access. And I have another probably 20 that are on the other side of my desk that I can't easily get to. Like, here's a battery for my Artec Spider Artec Eva. These batteries are also $900. Why? Because F you, that's why. Because Artec said so. And look, Artec, Gleb, and the entire team over there, I love you guys. You guys make great scanners. There's a time to nickel and dime the consumer, and that is not it. So I want to work with Artec. I do, but it is difficult for me to talk about these like RevoPoint Trackits and things like that without mentioning kind of the ways that Artec tends to nickel and dime its consumers and how the industry has accepted it as the norm because there is pretty much nobody else that has better software. Artec is a software company that happens, in some cases, to make hardware. Some of their newest scanners, like their precision handheld scanner, not the Spider, the Artec Point, they don't make that. That's a SimScan 42. And the Artec Ray 2, the Gen 2 of the Ray, I have the Gen 1 of the Ray. The Gen 2 is a Leica RTC 360. It's just rebadged and different firmware to run on Artec scanners or on Artec Studio software.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yeah, so my Artec Ray Gen 1 is a Surphaser 10HX. Under the hood, it's exactly what it is. When I send it back to Artec for service, it goes to Surphaser.
That's quite funny, to be fair.
It also takes like 6 months for service.
Good on them for having something made by someone else and profiting from it, but damn, that's 6 months.
I was hoping FJ was going to show
That makes it a lot harder.
FJ said $30K is just the entry-level price when compared to scanners like the Zeiss Atos Q that they think is like $100K with a few lenses. Yeah, these
to be fair, it's got the word Zeiss in it.
Oh,
Zeiss is an expensive
he just
name and it's
the
gone.
message. Oops, sorry. I don't know if I was supposed to read that or not, but I did.
This guy is back. There we go.
Yeah, okay. There must have been a spelling error. Okay.
Spelling mistake.
And yes,
I'm dyslexic. Every word is spelled wrong.
You're totally right. There is a there is a lot above this price point, but when you look at the average user, 30 grand, they'll go buy a car, right? Dreams Boy said, can I flash the Artec firmware onto a Surphaser, but spelled correctly? Surphaser or OR, I think, Surphaser. I don't know. And hilariously, my Ray needs new firmware. It forgot its firmware. It doesn't work right now. It forgot its firmware. So that's fun. I don't know why. But I forgot his firmware. Amber's here. Everyone say hi to Amber in the chat. Everyone say hi to Amber. So yeah, like I like the Trackit. I'm excited. I'm very excited to see how this thing goes.
It looks interesting.
Do remember individuals that live in the United States, and we will touch this real quick, then we're going to move on from it. Tariffs. This machine will likely be impacted by the cost of tariffs. So currently that's 145%. Now, that is likely to change in the future. Will it go up? Will it go down? I don't know. But even though you're saving 35%, be aware.
I know there was an exemption list recently come out.
Yes.
This might be included in that list.
It's not.
But I doubt it.
Yeah,
I know that
it was
certain
for,
computing components and camera equipment was.
And phones.
So if they do it the right way and lie, they might be able to get away without the tariffs. But
I'm not here to tell people to commit felonies and do that kind of thing like someone on Twitter accused me of, which is hilarious. I was answering a question. I wasn't committing a felony. So just be aware. I would say that if you're looking to back this in the United States, you better be damn certain that you need this. Because I'm assuming this is going to cost you quite a bit more money than you think. Now, RevoPoint could already bake the tariff pricing in, but you're rolling the dice that it's not going to go up or down, really. You're rolling the dice both ways.
Well, actually, now that you say that, I don't think they will bake the tariff price in.
They're not going to.
Mostly because even if they baked the tariff price in, because it's a Kickstarter and there's not an importer of register for the item, if you bought it, you are the importer.
You are the importer.
Therefore, you have to pay that tariff. So even if they bake it into the price, you're still going to pay an extra tariff on top. So just keep in mind, whatever is on the Kickstarter, you will be paying something more than what is on there. And at the time of whenever you watch this and Kickstarter, you're doing a thing on there, just keep it in mind. There might be hidden fees. I have been bitten by hidden fees before with import, where I imported something. I thought it was a 10% import. That turns out it was a 30% import. And I'm like, well, that's on me. And there's not really much you can do about it. So when it comes to this, if there is still the, what is it now, 105 or 140?
145 last I checked.
Oh, if there's 145% tariff and this is a $3,000 machine that they're selling to everyone for the same price,
now
expect to send $6,000.
Yeah.
Like, just keep that in mind. Like, I don't want you guys to be bitten. Just because the math is, I'm not going to call it intentionally hard to follow. It's just hard to follow.
It's intentionally hard to follow.
Keep that in mind.
Also,
I think it's just finances. Finances are inherently lesser talked about, and therefore it puts people in a bad mindset because it's finance, and finance is just hard to follow.
And because we're 2 hours deep, I'm gonna make fun of someone who's already banned from this channel anyways. I'm not gonna call them out, but you probably know who you are if you're watching this. They learned how tariffs worked live on Twitter, and it was very funny to watch fans post it in I don't know where they post it in our Discord, but they're like, this guy's learning about tariffs live. Oh, the companies pay the tariffs. They're like, no, they don't. This is how it works. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Here are the laws. No, it's not. Yes, this is what the White House says. And they're like, oh. And the comment was like, haha, this person's learning about tariffs, publicly. Yeah, it was absolutely hilarious. That guy, that was one of the first people to ever get banned from commenting on our YouTube channel. So he's one of the few people that I have blocked because he's just a hateful individual and has said some very nasty things about us, but that's okay. One last thing on the Trackit. There is no claim of accuracy right now.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, isn't there?
No claim of accuracy.
I was looking for that and I couldn't see it.
I just went through. There's no claim of accuracy. They've got the samples for the, what Trackit does. There's the Ford F1, or it might be the, it's a Ford Raptor. I don't know if it's the F-150 or the Ranger Raptor. They've got a statue, a tire from the vehicle, a rim from the vehicle, a helmet, and a horse statue. They are not telling you how long it took, how much data that is, what the processing time was. They're not telling you any of that. It's cool that it can do it, but any scanner can do that too. Any scanner can do that too. You need to know what was the accuracy, how long did it take, what was the processing time, and how much data it was, okay? To give you an idea, yesterday on this scanner, I did over 100 gigabytes of raw scan data, and I wasn't even in ultra mode. I was in high mode because I said, in ultra, this scanner will get down to a claimed 1/4 millimeter. They're like, oh yeah, no, we operate on like 3 millimeter precision. We're fine. I'm like, all right, I'll put it on high. I could easily decimate a scan down. I can't make data where it doesn't exist. So I know that it can do all this stuff, and I could have told you that it could do all that stuff, but you need to understand what it takes to do it and what kind of accuracy you're getting out of it. Now, they're launching the Kickstarter in May. There's more details coming soon. I'm sure we will cover it more as more details come out, but that's kind of my short and sweet Kickstarter. Obviously, money and all that. It is cool, but stuff and things, right? Just be aware of it. Mitch says, I don't have a computer that can handle that work. Well, it's like 15 scans. I think the biggest scan that I did was 22 gigs in one, but it's because it was a hollow object with a lot of intricate data inside of it. So I had to put the scanner into the object. It was a funnel system that also had an area for really high pressure hydraulic lines to go, and they need to copy that as best as possible. So I did my best. The scanner can't get it all, but that's okay. That's how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways. Luke's Lab bamboo hot end, right? I saw some photos of
Yeah.
it, but Luke, where's like your press release on it? We couldn't
Yeah,
find
I
that.
couldn't find a link. Like we've got a little we've changed a bit of the behind the scenes, so now we've got like a
We
lovely
have
a
notes.
Google Doc.
Yeah, we have
We
notes
got
now.
notes so we don't forget our talking points this
Yeah.
time. So when we end up with a 3-hour stream, we can actually see why it's a 3-hour stream instead of us just talking about food for 3 hours. But no, we just couldn't find like any form of like public press release
We
other
saw
than
pictures.
what's on YouTube.
It looked cool.
Yeah,
but
it does look cool.
That's it. All we saw were photos. So Luke, I would love to know more about it. Please DM me on Discord if you want us to, if there's any information that you can give us while we're streaming, you can just DM it to me. Just at 3D Musketeers on Discord, or you know, we're friends on Twitter. You can just send it to me there. But would love to know more information about it so we can talk about it, other than I'd love that you are starting to manufacture this kind of stuff in the United States. Consider me an early adopter as soon as it becomes available. You know, I would love to check one out for the channel. And we'll probably buy at least one of them to have as well. And we'll likely look at using that as the +4 hot end that we end up going with, because F it, I just don't care to use Cheaty's hot end anymore. But yes,
I think they've gotten rid of their requirement for using their hot end when you've literally broken enough of them and yeeted one across the room.
Yeah. I am upset at that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that one was already broken, so yeeting it isn't going to break the ceramic, so don't worry. I didn't break any ceramic, but yeah, Luke, I really do. I love that you are taking American manufacturing to the next level. You bought a 9-axis Swiss lathe, I believe, so that's very nice. Got some live tooling in there.
Lovely.
Yep. So I mean, that's when you're talking like really, really fine work. I am excited because I can trust the work that comes out of your shop. I am hoping that the price will be reasonable, because it will be a hard sell for the average consumer. But as a business, I don't particularly give a damn what the price is. I just care that it's reliable, you know? So that was something we wanted to mention, but like outside of a couple of photos that we saw from others, we don't actually know what it looks like. We don't know anything about it. It's cool, but we have no information about it. So nothing's come out yet. So Luke, if you are still here, send me info. If you're not still here, maybe you listen to this later.
They'll send us info.
Love you long time, I think. Wait, if we do this right, it's this hand. Can we do the heart?
Yeah. Wait. I need to do.
No,
that,
other way.
way.
No, it's the other side for my screen.
Wait, it's the other side.
Yeah. Watch the stream, Jacob. No, Jacob, you're.
No, it is. I was right.
Yeah.
It is that side.
No, it's not. Jacob, watch the stream.
Look, I'm watching the stream. Wait, my stream is behind by a lot. Why is my stream behind by 2 minutes?
Because
Okay.
YouTube. Come on, Jacob.
There we
do
go.
it.
Okay, so it's hair side.
Yeah.
There we go.
We're kind of doing it good enough.
Little bit back. There we go. No, you got to do the kid one, which is, instead of doing that, it's that now. It's like that. So it's the middle fingers.
I refuse. And for those listening audio only, we were attempting to make a heart. Hearts across borders. Oh. We made a heart across an ocean. Jacob, I love you. Jacob, don't leave me.
I'm sorry, it's the distance. There's only so much I can do when the distance is so great.
I can still taste the tea, the biscuits, and your mother's phenomenal cooking. And I'm clipping that.
Somebody needs to clip that, but end it at just the your mother bit.
Well, that's Andrew will probably do that. He clips on the button. What company is Luke from?
It's okay, Amber. I've stolen him for you.
It's Luke's laboratory. Jacob, he's your problem now. I'm reasonably low maintenance. I just work all the time, but that's not unheard of in your household. So,
You'll fit right in. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Cuppa.
A cuppa. You'll
Yeah.
get many a cuppa.
Yeah. I'm no longer Florida man. I'm British man, and I build museums full of things that I stole from everybody else.
To be, please tell me you have actually been to the British Museum, though.
Yeah.
Oh, now you know why we stole everything from everyone else, because it is so good.
Zaxman asked something a little bit earlier, and I wanted to mention. He said, Grant, as you know a ton about 3D scanning, can you tell me why a wooden stock from a hunting rifle would be 100% invisible to a scanner? Because it has either shellac or varnish on it, and it's shiny. 3D scanners, most of the ones that you likely have are either going to be blue light laser scanners, or they're going to be structured light. You probably have a structured light scanner, although you said you have a Metro X, so that's a crosshatch laser scanner. They don't like shiny. Straight up, they just hate shiny. Oh, there's Luke. Luke's there. Luke is here. Hi, Luke. Can you send us info about the Hotend? We'd like to be able to talk about it a little bit more. Oh wait, I have a message
on the quick
on
behind
Twitter.
the scenes thing.
Who messaged me on Twitter? No, it's not Luke. Damn it.
You got your hopes up now.
Yeah.
But Luke, if you do have your Swift lathe set up and you're wanting jobs to do, I might send you some stuff. I've been really looking forward to getting some. Grant's already seen them. I've got a Gen 2, by the way, Grant, for the Hemera hot side hard mount adapter to go from Hemera / E3D
it's pretty
to
cool.
Phaetus. It's really simple. It's a flange and a thread.
Yep.
But nobody can do it very well. We've gotten some companies to make some, and they're a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah. And it'll be nice supporting small companies like me and you. It'll be nice.
But then there's tariffs.
For some reason, I think you're bigger than me.
He's on my side of the pond, so we'll see. But there might be some pretty interesting tariffs.
Tariffs only come into this if we value it at a high price.
No, tariffs always come into it. Just don't commit felonies.
Yeah, you would
kids.
just say it's cheap. Just say it's cheap. As long as Luke sells it to us cheap, we can buy a service expensive, because it's the physical item that's tariffed, not the service.
I'm trying to see how far Amber skated. She told me that she skated to the Circle K. Jeez, Amber skated 3 miles.
Oof.
Yeah, in the sun.
That's a bit of a distance.
Although it is nice out. She said she skated the Circle K, skated inside to get a drink. They didn't catch her. And now she's gonna skate back. Yeah, it's 2.8 miles each way. So that's kind of cool. Nice, good job.
Zax with I busted out some masking tape, but it was a bit meh for asking how to get a useful scan. Talcum powder and isopropyl alcohol is a really cheap way if you don't want a sub. Get some.
Careful with alcohol on wood.
Oh, lacquers. Yeah.
Yep. Honestly,
you can do it with water, like just a spray bottle water and talcum powder. You just want to get rid of the shine. If you are using something like a structured light, or for more of it is the photogrammetry side for the texture, masking tape and then draw on the masking tape. You basically just want geometry in terms of 2D imagery for it to grab onto. But other than that, just find a way to make it matte, and then it should work. Matte or matte with some form of visual identifiers across it. And that should make it work.
Some of our favorites are talcum powder, but it is normally just cornstarch, right? So the talcum powder is great for that. You can dust it, and it should just naturally stick to it, at least reasonably well. If it doesn't, chalk.
Oh, yeah, that works.
Chalk works really well, and chalk line chalk also works very well. You will have to wipe it down, so it is, if you're going to scan the stock, try to remove it from the firearm to do that. That way you don't get any of the dust into the mechanisms of the firearm, because then you got to clean the gun, and which is fine if it needs cleaning. You know, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Clean your firearms, please. Keep them clean. That's a safety thing.
Keep them oiled, specifically, but you can use flour if you want. I prefer just straight cornstarch. It sticks better than flour does. Be careful with atomizing any powder. It does start to get dangerous and an explosion hazard. So be careful about that stuff. Please and thank you. But yeah, I would even avoid A sub for it, because I'm not certain how the A sub will impact whatever the varnish is over it. But yeah, you can just Try the baby powder. Make sure it doesn't
Actually,
have...
now that I think about it, yeah, don't use a sub because
Yeah.
if it's coming out of a spray can, it's probably propane based spray,
Well,
and propane will affect varnishes.
if he had a sub, he probably would have already used it. My assumption is he doesn't have a sub.
Yeah, try talc.
Yeah.
Cornstarch, talc. You can be bougie and put it in a water mixture and a spray bottle, or just powder it like a regular person.
Just send it. You'll be fine. It's a gun stock.
If it works, it works. That's it.
Yep. What about tree flocking? Flat color intended to be removable. You could do flocking. It tends to be expensive to do flocking. You know, but I
where are you getting your flocking from? Like,
to get like proper.
Don't you? Yeah, don't you make it yourself?
I mean, you can.
Yeah, you just get some like
I just
sponge cubes, soak them in paint, and then grate them, and then you get tree flocking.
I literally just
I thought you said you had the traintism. You should know this.
I don't build model trains, man. I like the big ones.
Yeah.
I
didn't buy big ones, so I got little ones.
I didn't get into the model trains because I don't need another problematic hobby, right? So,
yeah, if you want to make industrial grade flocking, just buy foam, like literal foam bricks,
the floral foam, and just shave it.
I wouldn't say floral foam, like just regular like sponge foam. Soak an entire brick in paint so it goes all the way through. Let it dry 100%, and then just get like a cheese grater and just grate it, and then you get micro flocking, and that is the thing. And it works. It works so well.
The more you know, and knowing's half the battle.
You use different types of foam, and you get different sizes. Like I was a 00/HO gauge. If you want to go smaller, you want to use like a high density foam because then the powder becomes thinner. Traintism.
Very much so. All right, let's move on. The Pantheon HS Pro.
I like it. I've always been a fan of, I'm going to call them monolithic designs, where you have this thick top plate that then everything is built around. And they've taken what I already classed as a tank of a printer, and they've just made it tankier.
Yep.
And I don't know what they've changed, because it already was a tank in my head. Like I physically can't process how much more they've done to it, because I already classed it as insanely good in the first place. But this looks gorgeous. Like the videos of it printing, I want to state, you can probably feel the vibe with it as well, but printing something solid is challenging. Like once you get more than 10 wall thicknesses in a row,
I know
your printer needs to be perfect, or you get over extrusion or under extrusion, and then it doesn't do the job. The fact that they have done this, they have made a cute little electric bike, which I'm actually in love with slightly more than the printer itself, and they just do it all. Like I love it. It is a gorgeous machine design with a unique spin on everything. And guys, if you're watching this, you have knocked it out the park.
I mean, the HS3 was groundbreaking in my opinion, but the HS3 was the perfect example of what happens when you told engineers to build a 3D printer. You gave them no budget. They're like, how much do we spend, boss? Like, just make whatever you think is best. And then they heard the term best. I love on their website under acceleration, it's 250,000 millimeters per second squared. And then an arrow says, this is not a typo. 250 G acceleration.
It's insane. Like that is the number that I wish more printer companies had at the top, or even told you about. Like,
yep,
that will make minute benchies very quick, because it's all the acceleration. Like it's never been about flow rate for most of these printers. It's all about acceleration to get up to the speed. Having accelerations that high, you are going to be absolutely ripping plastic all the time. And because you're at that high speed for longer, you're going to get less issues with flow, because you're not slowing down, you're not changing your flow parameters, you're just printing at the same speed. And I gotta add it, it's amazing. Also, the deposition rate being
2
kilos
kilos
per
a
day
day of carbon fiber.
Is impressive.
It is
like,
it is insane. Right? They're using
yeah.
1 horsepower of closed loop servo motor, closed loop servo motor with precision ball screws. So they have how many servos? Looks like 2 servos.
I think it's 2.
Yeah, so that means they are the better part of 400 watts each.
Yep.
Each!
Over-engineered. Keep it that way. Do not cut back on it.
They're using their floating frame design, so you get no wobble whatsoever. Your table can be in a hurricane or an earthquake, and it's not going to matter. Active chamber, and they're claiming cold to hot in 5 minutes.
You know what? I actually believe it. Like, normally I call bullshit on 5-minute heat up times. I've seen where they've got their heaters and the amount of circulation they have. I believe it.
For the fact that this printer, so the HS, what's the HS3 selling for these days? Oh, wow. They lowered. How the hell they lower the price?
Did that go down? I've just seen it. That's under 10K.
It used to be.
I thought it was like 14 or 15.
I thought it was 14 or 15 grand. Nice.
Yeah.
They lowered the price of the HS3. Maybe
Guys, well done.
Maybe now with the Pro. Maybe now with the Pro, they lowered the price with the HS3. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, HS3 used to be like 15 grand. This one does not have a buy link. Yeah, it just has a contact. First deliveries May, contact for more information. I'm guessing this will be 15 to 20K. If you are a small business and you need machines to do deposition rates that are just stupid.
Insane.
Like, and a big build plate, 400 by 400 by 300. That's a good build volume, right? And machine dimensions of 690 by 785 by 725. And you have a dedicated circuit for the machine. God, it's 97 kilos. I think this machine will do well. Obviously, we like the Construct 2 around these parts. But I would love to check out...
This is a different ball game.
Yeah.
This is... Like, we're dipping our toes into industrial. This is industrial. Like, there is a difference.
This, to me, is an industrial machine when you don't want to pay Stratasys prices, and you don't want to look... And you need to maintain something that's made in North America. Because like the Pantheon is.
These are different design methodologies. Like, this was designed to do carbon fiber nylon 24/7. That is your only material you're ever going to do. There's no need for a filament change because you already know what you're doing, and you need it strong, fast, like aviation grade stuff.
Yep.
Construct 2 is not that. Construct 2 is still a generalist machine for that industry. This is a specialist machine, and it is beautiful.
It is beautiful. Now, I will say
the
styling is absolutely not one that you're going to get past your significant other unless your significant other is also an engineer. The styling is, we need printer to work. Oh, we need printer in box. Make box for printer. Printer has box.
Yep.
Here's printer with box. Enjoy printer with box. And that's it, right? It's nothing fancy. It is designed to be utilitarian. It's designed to be serviceable from what we can tell. The printer weighs more than Jacob. It does weigh more than Jacob.
Wait, how heavy is the printer?
97 kilos.
Yep, that weighs more than me. That weighs more than me and my dog.
I wish it weighed more than me, but it doesn't.
Don't worry, I'll make a printer that weighs more than you. It's fine.
They did something a little controversial, but given what they're doing, I have faith. They forked Orca.
Go on. I saw that.
They forked Orca, which normally we say, bad company, don't do that.
I can see why. Industrial companies don't like generalist software.
They need the control
level. As a direct thing for that.
Yeah, they need the control level. I don't blame them for it. And when you're playing with values that are so high, like 250,000 for your acceleration, most slicers won't let you do that. So they likely had to fork it to change that stuff. And for that, fine. But they need to make sure they maintain at least one revision behind normal Orca. If they fall more than one revision behind, there's no point in me using their software when I can just use regular Orca.
Yeah.
My hope is that they've removed a lot of Bamboo's
what, proprietary bullshit?
No. The logging,
tracking, the
logging, the slicer based logging. Because
Orca's got rid of most of that. So if they're forking from Orca, then it should have forked over also that. So I wouldn't be too worried about that personally.
I always am, because I know that this machine, right, when it's going after printing, like on their website, okay, let me see here. Where is it? I had it up. I don't know where it is. Damn it. It's multiple kilos of high temp carbon fiber filled material per day, no matter what, right? And they had it where they showed you for each material. I don't see where it is anymore. But they their market is not the average consumer, obviously. No. Their market is not even the average business. Nope. They are on the upper echelon of businesses that care way more about time than they care about anything else.
These, I imagine, either are, let's call it automotive design.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's like a big area where, like, you are making something for high performance cars. You are making something for aerospace. You aren't probably BAE and Boeing and all of that, because they are going to use Stratasys at that stage. But these are like the startups. Yep. Like they've targeted new blood with new hotness, and I can tell, and it looks great. And I hope they are successful, because the machine deserves to be. That machine is so pretty. It's so well built. The guys behind it they love what they're doing, and you can tell because the machine reflects their ethos. So honestly,
yeah, and their ethos is literally no money spared. We build it because we can, not because we should. That's their ethos.
Yep.
And
there's
shows.
Only one thing that I would change. Literally only one thing. And this is something that every company, especially newer ones, they always get wrong until they find out the hard way. And I've double checked it literally just now. So while you were talking, I've been reading up their setup and safety documentation. At the moment, they've only got the HS3 up. There is no mention of the motor's power level for safety. So NEMA 17s, you can get away with not having it because they really can't get that powerful. When you're talking ball screw NEMA 23s with closed loop,
no, these are servos. These are not closed loop severs. These are actual real clear motion.
These will break
servos. Oh yeah, if your hand is in this printer when it is printing and it hits you, you're getting a cast. You're breaking bones. There is no doubt in my mind that this machine will break bones.
Yep, and that's the only recommendation, is mostly to cover their backs, is just have somewhere in the documentation that is motors are powerful. Don't put hand inside machine when operating.
Hey, I just
even
saw
if it's
this.
Just motors are powerful, do something. Oh, where?
Hardware air gap available. Sorry, completely unrelated. Hardware air gap available.
Oh,
like on their website, HD 7-inch touchscreen, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, USB, hardware air gap available. They are going after government. This is a government printer, homie.
Yeah, this is new blood government printer. I love it.
I love it. I've wanted an HS3 for years, and I'd like to work with them on it, because, I want one. And like, here's...
Yeah, I'm in a rival company, technically. I want to work with them on it. I just want to see them succeed.
Yeah.
Like, honestly. Like, I'm the worst businessman because I'm too busy going like, yes, let's make money with my machines. Ooh, new hotness. Let's help them out.
Yep.
Let's make my competitors better, because everyone actually deserves to have good competitors.
They do.
The boring world if you don't have competitors.
So I'm reading something verbatim from the website. I think you'll enjoy it. With 3D printers, bigger is always better. The 400mm square bed is the largest we could fit into a printer, and still fits through an ADA doorway. You're going to be shocked with what you can fit. That's a
Yep.
big problem in this industry where you can't fit bigger machines through doors.
Yep.
So I like the fact that they took that into account. They built it off of the ADA. They're in Canada, right? They're Maple, okay? They didn't have to follow ADA rules. They did because they knew a lot of their customers come from the US.
How wide are ADA standard doors then?
I think 32 inches.
32 inch. Let me convert that. 32 inch to
A little
cm.
under a meter.
It's very similar to what we've got in the UK, like 80 centimeter doors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm curious. Now I'm going to look it up.
81.32, I think, off top of my head.
Minimum
remembered
clear
it right.
opening width of 32 inches. Look at that. Top of my head, I knew it.
Brilliant. But no, like, that doors are a problem. Like, we physically decided to make Construct 1 XL that
Yep.
size to fit through standard doors. You know who didn't? The rat rig behind me. I had to damage my door to get it through the door. It was the exact size of the door. I've got paint marks on the back. And that would suck because it's a big machine and now it's damaged. It's not damaged like in terms of the internals, but there is surface scratches and that does hurt. And I've seen it with a couple of the newer big machines as well. They don't fit through doors. So I really like how they've gone to this little bit extra because
Giga through the door.
could be wrong. Oh, you're just cutting the door out at that stage.
Yep.
It'll be faster to rebuild the door than it is to just
Sell it with the house, buy a new Giga.
Yep.
Speaking of Giga, we got 140 people here and only 70 likes. We have literally half the likes of the viewers. Let's pump those
What are
numbers
you
up.
guys doing?
Jacob, did you see how many watts the chamber heater is?
I can see the power supply is 1.8 kilowatts, which is a lot.
Yep.
I don't know. Actually, no, I'm not going to look. I'm going to guess. So I know from the video that I saw they had 2 vertical heaters. I'm going to assume they're DC powered, though they're probably AC powered if they're higher than 300 watts each. So I'm going to say if they're doing 5-minute heating, full circulation, I'm going to say 600 watts of heating for the entire chamber.
1,000. Now,
1,000.
I want to be clear. Some discrepancies I want to go over. So the print bed is a Maxwell kinematic mount, Alka 5 aluminium, tooling plate print surface, 20 micron flatness, independent 3-point bed leveling, 20 micron tolerance, CNC machine finish, 1,000 watt for the print bed. Chamber, closed loop, controlled temperature to 60 Celsius, max 1,000 watt convection heating with active cooling. So they could just be blowing air over the print bed and using the print bed as a chamber heater. So, I don't know.
That is a lot of power.
Yes.
In a very small area.
My Magneto X is 1,000 watt print bed, and it's excessive. I have it turned down in Clipper to like 600 or 700 watts because anything more is just stupid. There's no reason for it. And it works very well. That heat bed gets spicy fast. So, yeah, reasons for sure. But I don't know if what we see are heaters or if they're filters.
I think they're heaters.
They could have extra heating.
I think the ones at the back, when I saw it, I think those were the heaters. It wouldn't surprise me if they had filters in here as well, especially if they're printing carbon fiber. I would expect some form of filtering, and it does look like, especially with this type of machine, you could print ABS, like dirty ABS, 24/7.
500C max print head. You can print whatever the hell you want with it.
Yeah.
Frankly, I'm surprised that they didn't go for a hotter chamber. They have 500C Hotend. I'm assuming it's because their servos can't go hotter.
Did it say 60C max?
Yep.
I'm trying to find it. I would guess it's not the servos. I think it's the servo controllers.
The bed gets to 145. The Hotend gets to 500. Peak, PEC, Ultem, all of that is there. And they are Technic Clear Path closed loop DC servos. They tell you what they are.
I am gonna say
Integrated controllers. There you go.
It's the integrated controllers. It's entirely the fact that high temperature controllers basically don't exist.
Their machine could do
And
peak if they put the
they're so
motors on the
expensive.
outside. Or liquid cooled them somehow.
Yeah, if you could, well, actually, I think the biggest challenge won't be the motors because they're stationary. They're easy to cool. It's the head. The moment that you have your motherboard on your head, your daughter board.
Yeah, because they're
you need to
CAN
cool
bus.
that.
They're CAN bus.
Yeah, which means you're probably either having a Raspberry Pi chip, meaning maximum ambient of 60 to 70, or an Amtel chip, which is 80 to 90. The headroom is non-existent, so I'm going to say it's because of the head and the daughter board on the head that actually limits it, because the motors could easily be water-cooled. They're stationary. There's nothing moving. There's no risk of leakage. There's no risk of...
Well, let's say you're using like a CPAP fan to cool the hot end, and you could do what the HT90 does, where you can choose exterior air or interior air. You could have a little air blower that's exterior air blowing onto a chip. But I agree, right? That does start to...
Well, the issue with exterior air blowing on the chip is, in theory, you have to also evacuate the air you've just blown in.
Or you have a pressure differential.
Or you're losing your heat in the pressure because you're literally evacuating the chamber of that amount of air. But also at the same time, you don't want cold air blowing on your parts if you're getting that hot, because that will be almost as problematic as not having the heated chamber in the first place.
Like, looking at it, it looks like they've got some of those small, and I'm literally, I have, oh yeah, it's right here. Looks like they have heaters like this, these PTC radiator style heaters, right? It looks like they have some of these. Do I have ratings?
I'm going to assume for a kilowatt, they're going to be AC powered.
24 volt, 100 watt. I mean, that's what this is.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be either... Well, they could be overvolting it. So they could be running 40 or even 60 volts to it.
Well, hold on.
And that would get you the temperature.
Hold on, though, because total machine power is 1,800 watts. 1,000 watt bed, 1,000 watt heater, that's 2,000 watts.
I wonder if they're doing the heaters like what we're doing with Pika. Like they're using them as Pika heaters. So literally they're only doing them to top off the heat that the bed gives off.
I mean, with a bed that can go to 145C, probably. Right? I mean, that's...
Yeah, get the entire chamber that hot with mostly the bed. Air flowing over the bed, a little bit over the heaters. Once it's at temperature, obviously turn the bed off, turn the heaters to 100%, and then just use the heaters to maintain temperature. That's what I would do personally, because you don't really want very powerful heaters. They are very, I'm not going to say expensive to run, but very dangerous when they go wrong because they're heaters.
Yeah.
And if you're going live power, which is what, if they were 600 watts each, then, or 400 watts each, or whatever wattage each, anything over than 200 to 300 watts, you're generally going into AC power heaters.
But if they're PTC...
That's where they also become dangerous.
But if they're still PTC, you've got some level of safety. So let's say a PTC them at 100...
It's less about that. It's more about them being live. Like if something hits
you
them,
zap them.
It's the live side. You get zapped. Because the DC ones only get to like 100 to 200 watts.
Is it dumb that I don't really care about safety with this machine?
No. It's industrial machine. There's safety risks.
It has an e-stop button. I don't have to care about safety because a 5-year-old should not have access to this machine. And if your engineer is dumb enough to put his hand in there, or their hand in there, I should say, then they were that stupid, and stupid games, stupid prizes. Now, I know the world we live in is a little bit different than that. But yeah, it's, I look at it and say, you know. Frankly, I'm more worried about all that heat, the polycarbonate, plexiglass, whatever that they have for the chamber. That's going to radiate a shitload of heat.
Oh, it is definitely not plexiglass at that temperature.
Oh yeah, it's got to be polycarb. It'll frost if it's plexi.
Well, if it's plexi, it will droop. We found that out.
There's pills for that.
Hey, you want a bit of a bend in your life. You don't want it perfectly flat. But no,
is that where Bamboo got their build plates from, or their heat beds from? It could be glass. Do they say anything about glass?
I
Not
don't
that
think
I
it'll
see.
be glass. Glass would be stupid on a machine like this.
Also,
I
we were
would
wrong.
say.
It's three servo motors. It's 2 for the y-axis, 1 for the x. For
Oh,
reference.
that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. I would say, especially because the lid is formed, it's probably going to be polycarb. If it was plexi, it will droop over time. Also, plexi scratches really easy.
Yeah, you look at it.
Like
and
you
it's
need to
scratched.
get a surface coated scratch. Like there are surface coatings you can get that reduce it, but honestly, the dust in the air will scratch plexi, where polycarb won't.
Yep.
So,
and yes, Luke, it's the new Pantheon. Yeah, the HS Pro. Joel did a video on it. I didn't watch it. I wanted to kind of. I will watch it after this, but I wanted to form my own opinions before I watched Joel's video. Joel has a great relationship with them, and I trust Joel's opinion heavily. But at the same time, I also know that, like anybody else, my opinion can be influenced, and I like to be able to.
Being aware of your bias is an important.
Yeah, I want to form my own
objective.
biases, right? Yeah. They're only 2 hours away from Luke. Luke, I'd be going there to hang out with them if I was you. I don't know. Those guys just... Pantheon just sounds like the company that will say, so you want to see what happens when we run it into a chicken wing? It's like... so like when we got our 80-watt CO2 laser, we're like, we assume it can cut through your hand, but...
Can it?
How do you... Oh, okay, Joel's only 2 hours from Joel, so Vancouver to Seattle. It's like, how do you do it? You go get chicken wings, you get the drumsticks, and you try to cut through a drumstick. It works! It works! And so, how would I test the analog of this? I would make fingers out of chicken drumsticks. They'd be cooked. And then I'd send them for wham! And see if it breaks. It's basically the same thing.
I mean, it's important.
Yeah.
I think I found a typo in their
I
list.
saw it. The patented. You saw that too?
Oh no. I don't really care because I'm dyslexic. That read normally. Part cooling, 5 CFM. That's really low.
At 25 really at an inch of mercury or inch of water.
Yeah.
5. You're right. That is
5 CFM's really low. Like, one 2040 fan is 20?
CFD optimized. Might not matter. If it's properly optimized, who cares?
I think that it's missing a 1. I think it's 15. Gut feel. Like, I saw on their video the size of their fan. 5 CFM, unless it's exceedingly high pressure at low airflow, I think that might just be a typo.
Yeah,
because their fan's good. It's good cooling from what I saw, like, openly. You're like Kiska saying a Pi 4 fan is 1.4 CFM. That thing doesn't even blow anything. You look at it,
that's nothing.
Your eyes are cooling. Like 5 CFM is actually like that's probably more.
Could be. Yeah, then there's the patented. But either way, look, they're humans, right? Yeah, they had very narrow outlets, 5 CFM matches. If they have properly CFD optimized, you don't need a lot of airflow. You need air.
That is true.
In specific locations. And they even made a joke about the 250K acceleration that, no, that's not a typo. So I could be inclined to believe that
they could be doing a high pressure system.
I'm all for static pressure. I want pressure over CFM. Personally. I'll take both.
I find pressure is better.
Yeah.
CFM works when you're doing a wide area. Because obviously you want passive cooling as you're moving that fast. 24-volt fan. I'm just going to quickly get up the CFM for...
I want to get the CFM for the Prusa. Hold on. I've got it listed. Let me pull the one for Prusa. Let's see. The fan that Prusa uses. Where is it? There's the Delta fan. How many CFM is what Prusa use on the XL? Let's find out. It is 3.98 CFM at 0.113 meters cubed per minute and 0.790 inches of water. So 20 millimeters of water. And I will tell you, the fan on the XL is not good enough. Not even close. So it's also 1 watt. 1.3 watts.
Oh,
nothing.
That's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
That's actually nothing. Okay, I have got up the thing.
Luke said if we ducted
sheet.
it down even close to what they were, we'd be at like 2 CFM. Yeah. They have 40 CFM on their StableBot Pro, which is basically wide open ducts. Yeah. You have two options when you design cooling ducts. You either have all of the air all of the time, or you have very pinpoint air exactly and only when you need it. And Luke said that's dual 3628s. Yeah, I have no reason not to trust Pantheon. And again, Pantheon is the example of what happens when you tell engineers to build a 3D printer and you give them no further specifications whatsoever. The only specifications you give them are it needs to work and be reliable, and you don't care about anything beyond that. That is how you get a Pantheon printer every single time. Oh. Luke said that's the opposite of their design theory. The CEO explained to me. Their design theory seems like we go to 11 on everything because we really liked, what was that movie? It doesn't go to 10, it goes to 11. Oh my God. What movie was that?
Come Back to the Future?
No, God, no. It's a stoner movie. Spinal Tap. Thank you. I should have known that because I got a Spinal Tap and I made a freaking joke that the pain went to an 11. It's Spinal Tap. Son of a bitch. Oh, damn it. Sorry.
I love it. Oh.
Does this feature make a better motorcycle? Is literally the ethos behind the printer. So the motorcycle they show, does it make a better motorcycle printer?
You know what? I can vibe with that ethos.
I can really vibe with that.
I vibe with that ethos because I take my ethos similar to architecture.
Does it make a better printer?
I treat my printers like
Then
buildings.
I want to know why they didn't go for a higher chamber, because a higher chamber would make for a better printer.
I swear, I think the chamber is just a limitation
they
on
might have
electronics.
been just limited too much, yeah.
It's just electronics. Like, we're already deciding internally, while we can run a 75-degree chamber, just for safety headroom, cutting it back down to 60, knowing we can do higher. Just because of the electronics. Like, if we have to use off-the-shelf boards, 60, 65 is really the max. Just because you can never be too certain. And now I'm relying on other people's data sheets instead of my own. So yeah, I think limiting it to 60 is the smart decision. And to be honest, most materials don't care once it hits 60 degrees.
I know, but I want to go to peak. Yeah, shut up. That's what I want, because that's where the money is. I want the high temp printers, and I want them now.
If you want to print Peak Pack and Ultim, you shell out for the lovely, unlubed Stratasys dildo that is their machine.
Sir, I want the Eliarchy, and I want to do it for $700, and I want all of my silicone heat socks to burn. I forgot to talk about that in Print Fix Friday.
Oh,
But I get to have 3 weeks of potential fire hazards on Print Fix Friday, so this next Print Fix Friday is going to be the Eliarchy.
So looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I want to know what they were smoking when they decided, let's put a chamber temperature so hot it's going to burn everything. A nozzle so hot it's going to burn everything. And a printer that does not look like it was designed for any of it.
I'm really concerned that Eliarchy doesn't know what it's going to take to build these machines, and that they might end up having a failed Kickstarter, and it's going to piss people off.
I hate to say it, but it does have the vibe of a bit of a pump and dump. Just
I
get it
don't
out
know
there.
about
I
pump
think
and
I think
dump.
they're trying. I think they are trying to make a good machine. And I just don't think they know what it takes to go from Kickstarter to production,
Dude,
especially with
I was
the
happy to help
oversights.
them. I was happy to talk with them about all of this, like literally be a consultant for not only how to manufacture, but how to do it properly, how to run a Kickstarter, how to
Yep.
build a high temperature. I was happy to be the guy that helped them with this. And I think literally because I had the knowledge, they decided not to work with me anymore. I mean, maybe it was because I asked for, what did I ask for? Like $500 for 2 videos plus the materials to do it. It's not a lot of money. Like, come on now. Net7
Yeah.
said me
Like
they
I
send it
wouldn't
out to YouTubers so they want, so what they want and the reality are going to class for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
but YouTubers
Like I wouldn't have an
get
issue with it if they
everything, you
just
know.
didn't advertise stupid temperatures. Like if they advertised 60-degree chamber
Yeah,
or even 70-degree chamber, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's do it. 90-degree chamber is where I go, oh, this didn't even pass the safety compliant sniff test. This is just straight into dangerous. 90 degrees is it's a step above. Like if it's 60, I go, yeah, I can see that. I'm happy with that.
yep.
If it's 70, I can go, yeah, I can see that. They're pushing the limits and you're probably going to have a bit of quality assurance issues at that temperature, but I can see that. 80, I go, oh, well, they're probably doing the classic marketing thing of measuring the hot spot in a hot area. 90, however, you go past benefit of doubt. You go past
Yeah.
I'm pushing the limits of safety and just straight into, well, that's a stupid, dangerous decision. Yeah. Yeah. Just, I don't like it. I just don't
Me
like it.
neither.
Someone's going to get burned, literally or figuratively,
I want
but
to.
you want to talk about something that isn't stupid higher temperature?
What?
So artillery
Oh,
during the lovely TCT announcements, sneakily announced their machine, and it has a 60-degree heated chamber, and that looks good, and I have no issues with that. It is a £345, so I think it's like $380 before
yeah, it's not bad. I think it's
tax and
380.
import.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice build volume of, what was
260.
it, 250, 260 by 260 by 260. High flow nozzle by the looks of it, though take that with a grain of salt until we see people
They're
printing with
saying
it.
35.
Yeah. 35 could be we've got a regular nozzle printing ABS at 300 degrees, or it could be high flow at regular temperatures.
Yep.
Take that with a grain
Well,
of salt.
they're claiming
But
320C on the nozzle.
it wouldn't surprise me if it is a high flow or some form of high flow derivative. 320 on the nozzle, which is completely acceptable.
Yep.
I have no safety issues with that. 60-degree active chamber heating, which is nice to see as well, which probably implies active cooling.
And yes, the M1.
It looks like there was a fan, and yeah, looks great. And then at some point during their announcement, they also accidentally, from the looks of it, leaked the M1 Plus, which is the exact same printer, but 350 by 350 by 350 big. So this kind of is looking like oh god, I forgot the name of it.
Race the bottom.
The Centauri
The
Carbon.
Centauri Carbon. Yeah.
Yeah, the Centauri Carbon, but with a heated chamber.
And $80 more. And $80 more for a heated chamber is good. But there's one problem with artillery. They've had fire hazards and they've had major recalls before.
Yeah.
So the artillery X1, I believe their first generation, it was a Ender 3/CR10 clone, but it used ribbon cables instead of like a cable chain or a cable whip. The ribbon cables would fail and they'd short and they'd burn. And artillery did nothing to fix it. Artillery went the way of the Pinto, of the Audi had an issue like that too. When manufacturers decide that it's not worth it, they just released,
pretend it isn't a problem.
They released a new printer, which I don't believe one of their machines then didn't have thermal runaway protection. So I like heated chamber printers. I like them a lot. I want them. I want them in my life. But that one, and artillery, if you want to send me one, send me one. I'm going to hit it with a thermal camera. You're getting thermal cammed and you're getting checked because I don't trust it.
I think that's just a safe thing to do for most printers nowadays.
It should be.
Especially as heaters are getting hotter. I mean, to be fair, for compliance, it's part of the safety testing. You need to check thermals on the printer to make sure it's safe. I know these companies aren't doing these because otherwise we would have caught the Quiddy printer in advance. We would have caught any possible like thermal runaway issues in advance. But yeah, like from the sounds of it, this printer could be good. Their track record has some blips, which unfortunately nowadays a lot of import printers do have blips. Hell, even Bamboo Lab has quite a big blip with their beds catching fire and being live, which is suboptimal to say the least.
Suboptimal.
But I am willing to say wait until it comes out and wait a couple of months until people give you an actual review. But this might be one to keep an eye on.
Definitely.
Like,
and
60 quid extra for a heated chamber on a Centauri Carbon, I would do that.
And
because a heated chamber fixes a lot of issues.
But the 350 now. 350 with the heated chamber? Because like the Cheaty's nice at the 305. That's nice. I like it. It's a good build volume, but a 350, I like that. I like that. And like I've got an X1 and I'll say like the problem that I have with the X1 is that I can't keep the chamber hot to do bigger parts. So I have to use the Cheaty when I do bigger parts or solid parts or parts that take a while that I don't want to warp. I have to use it because I need that build volume, right? And I need that chamber heater. So there are just things associated here that value, but I'm hesitant because of the track record. Now, every company is allowed mistakes. It's how they respond to those mistakes, to me, that is what determines who they are. Artillery has not done the best job, in my personal opinion, of responding to these problems. Can they do it better now? Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. That's a low enough price machine. I would happily take a look at one on a live stream without a single question. And the M1 Plus at a 350, you've got my attention as well.
But yeah, and that leads us quite nicely into back to what happened at TCT. Is it TCT or is it Rapid?
Rapid
What's
TCT,
the terminology? Rapid TCT. Going to the Creality side, they also announced 2 new filament printers, which is to fill out the K series. They've now got the regular K2 and the K2 Pro. Now, I don't know
the synthetic marijuana and the synthetic marijuana Pro. I'm never gonna not make that joke. That's a good joke.
It's a funny name. I wish they capitalized on it.
Yeah, says the company
They
that has
had
a
every
printer literally
opportunity
named High.
But yeah, there's not really much to say about it. They've announced K2 and K2 Pro. It's a 260 cubed build volume and a 300 cubed build volume. It's more cheaper printers. And that's pretty much it. I have nothing to say. It's a Creality K series. It's cool. If that's for you, maybe you're interested in it. Unfortunately, it's not for me because they're all getting in the same mind space now of cheap Bamboo Lab clone.
But we knew that was going to happen, right? Yeah. We when Bamboo Lab releases a new machine, we get clones of it. This is just how it goes. We saw Creality tease a multi-nozzle printer that looks like, hey, copy my homework but make it look a little different, right? And this is normal. This is what we expect. The thing with Creality, and I think that this is a well-known fact with them. It is hit or very miss.
Yep.
You're either knocking it out of the park with their printers and you love it, or you want to do $1 per gram of tannerite for a live stream and then just send it back to, you know, Mother Earth Gaia from whence it came.
Yep.
I believe Creality has a space in this industry, but I think a lot of what Creality has built their base on is teaching people the value of knowledge, and by making you learn the things the hard way. And maybe they can figure this out, but I do worry that Creality is kind of back to the same style of, let's just have the same name with different variants at the end of it to confuse buyers and have them buy the wrong thing. And it's like, oh man, like, how is the Pro not better than the Plus? The Plus is bigger. How is the Pro not better than it? Right? You look at the iPhones, the Plus is not better than the Pro. And where's the Pro Max? So, I don't know. The naming schemes always seem to be like purposefully problematic.
Yeah. I don't know if this is just lost in translation between the different cultures or intentional at this stage, but it isn't helping the industry decipher what is available when and at what quality. I mean, we've got
I think
artillery
is
with
deliberate.
clones, we've got Creality with clones, we've got Elegoo with clones, we've got pretty much any company in the filament space with clones.
You get a clone. Everybody gets it's Oprah Winfrey with clones over here.
Like, at which point do you go, okay, I need a printer that does this? Well, they're all the same. Like, the only difference really is the new artillery, which has a heater, but that's it. That's just, it's got a heater. That's one check mark in the thing. Like, ooh, I'm so surprised. But it does make it really difficult for me to now start recommending machines to people, because I don't even know what to recommend anymore. It's like, what do you need? Do you need a Bamboo Lab? Cool. Here's
Bamboo Lab.
Go
enjoy.
Go decide one for yourself. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, nowadays, like, I can't even say which company to go with, because it's a very personal thing now.
It is.
Like, normally I would be like, oh, if you don't like Bamboo Lab, go Creality. Well, we've got the Centauri Carbon come out. Do I recommend that over a K2 Plus? Or do I recommend an Artillery over Centauri Carbon? Like, they're all the same machine in my head now. And I think they're doing more harm than good. With everyone having a stake in the game in the same space, if everyone is selling Tenderloin, which Tenderloin do you buy? I can't give you an answer anymore. Like, previously it was like, oh, you like this, but you want this little feature? Go with that company. They're all the same now. Like, there's not even a size difference. They're all the same size.
To make a proper to make a proper comparison here, because of course everyone knows there's an 80% chance we're going to tangent to food. Wagyu. Or, you know, do you like the Wagyus with your grill marks, bud? There's the one everybody knows, Japanese A5, right? But you see all these companies coming out with a Wagyu beef. It's not Japanese A5. And so, is Creality the American Wagyu beef versus the Japanese A5? Is the Anycubic S1 the American Wagyu? Or is it mystery meat? Is it the tube of beef that you can buy, the tube of ground beef? Did you guys have those in the UK?
Yep, we still get them.
Tube
it's a
beef.
Complete waste of time, in my opinion. So,
yeah, so you have to wonder, are you getting a comparable product, or, you know, where you're taking a slight hit, right? You know, where you're taking a slight hit on the quality to save money, or should you just go get ground beef, right?
I don't even see it as that. I see it as you've got your Japanese A5 Wagyu at the top, and then you're like, okay, I know I don't want the Japanese A5 Wagyu because it's too expensive. Let's get the Australian Wagyu instead.
Still
like,
good.
There's no real grade, but let's go with that. But now the question isn't the one down or the one above. It's, oh, do I go Australian or do I go Hungarian? or do I go this one, or do I go this brand name one, or this one? Like, it's all the ones in that tier.
And it feels like it's
I'm now
deliberately confusing.
now I have to compare them against each other instead of, I already know the Japanese A5 is the best.
Yep.
But I don't want that.
So if you
which
look
is
at
the one I do want?
If you look at it, say bamboo's the best, and now with the tariff, bamboo is too expensive, you still want something. Where do you land? It is truly like the industry is producing these clones to be deliberately confusing. And damn it, it's working.
Also, those tariffs are going to absolutely destroy that segment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just all the main benefit of them was being cheap. Like 250 quid, 350 quid. Well, 140% tariff, that makes my machines affordable. If my machines become affordable compared to the dirt cheap stuff coming out of China,
yep,
you got to start reevaluating what you're doing.
I want to be clear, and we had this on our optional topics, but F it, we're here. Go look at the price of bamboo on Matter Hackers. Bamboo Lab X1 Carbon Combo. What is that on? What is it on Bamboo's website? Let me pull up on Bamboo's website.
I'll get Matter Hackers up.
I already have Matter Hackers up.
You're doing my job for me.
Yeah, multiple monitors, homie. Bamboo Lab X1C Combo. Wow, it's gone up on. Oh, you can get it with the AMS2 Pro combo. That's cool. You can do that now.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's only it's $130 more. That's not bad. I might choose that. To get the heater.
For you, it'll be almost $300 more. So
shut up. So the X1 Carbon Combo from Bamboo Lab, $1,749 US. From Matter Hackers, $2,899 US.
Oh.
So, and realize that Bamboo, for the most part, is importing their machines into the United States. Then they're sending them to you. So there is a tariff that will need to be paid at some point, somewhere. If Bamboo passes that tariff along to the customer, go buy a Construct 1 XL. Just, you'll have a better time with that machine. It's going to cost you the same amount of money.
That's the scary thing, is it's costing you the same amount of money.
It's costing you way more money.
Very different class of...
Way more money. Because it's 145%, so it's double plus another 45. So you're looking at like an $1,800 X1 Carbon going to be like $6,000 almost.
Oh God, that is insane.
Or no, $5,000. Call it basically $5,000.
That's still insane. So the neat thing about buying from us, you don't pay tax. Like in the UK, you have to pay 20% tax because it's an export. You don't pay tax. Now, at the moment, I believe it's a 10% tariff.
Yeah, it's 10
to the UK, which is still better than buying it in the UK.
Your shipping's gonna cost. Look, if you're already spending $3,000, another $300 is not that big of a deal. If you're spending $1,800, another $2,500 is a problem.
Yeah, you are saving a considerable amount of money getting a C1 XL compared to a Bamboo combo. To
be clear, Bamboo says estimated shipping date is April 23rd, 2025, and they're calling it a pre-sale.
Oh, that might go up even more.
Well, they're gonna likely have to adjust their pricing to cover the tariff for the end consumer, where they will just pay it out. The end consumer doesn't get a bill. So again, we were talking about the tariffs earlier of how this is going to impact the consumer grade 3D printing industry, where a Centauri Carbon could cost almost as much as a P1S. And will this stay, right? These shorts that we're going to clip out of this and this episode and the bits that might age like milk, right? But I think it is good for us to be knowledgeable of the fact that you technically have a tariff on this right now. And there is potential problems that it's not being billed to you right now and the bill shows up later. So be very, very careful about buying machines right now. There's a lot of danger associated with this. Please.
I've had tariff bills show up 2 months later.
Yep, me too.
And that
my XL
ruined me.
My XL tariff showed up like 5 or 6 weeks after the printer was delivered.
Yep.
I mean, it was like $180. It wasn't bad.
It's not too bad, but it's something, if you're not expecting it, it can push you. It can push you in just the wrong ways. I remember when I was doing the prototyping for Construct 1, I did it all via my personal PayPal. So I bought a load of things from China, got them shipped over. It took a month for them to arrive. By the time the payment went through, it was 4 months later. So I spent the money, the parts arrived, I went, oh, these didn't work, let's buy some more parts. I ended up spending twice the amount that I should have because the bill went out 4 months later and I ended up in the red. All because the money that I thought already went out didn't. And that didn't even include the import tax that then showed up months after that as well. It was dreadful. It was so bad, in fact, I actually promised myself I'm not going to use PayPal for business.
No.
I will use it to make payments and purchases, but it is coming directly out of my bank account now. It's not coming out of the PayPal account because they can delay money. And you don't know how annoying that can be until it happens. And you were planning in your head, like, I am good with finance. I like to think that I am good with balancing my money and spending just the right amount. So I like to tell my friends, I play Monopoly like I do in real life. I spend all my money down to $1, but then I don't go past it. I'm very good at maintaining that bottom line. I went past it because of PayPal and their holding fees and just the money not going out when it should have. And I'm good at remembering this. And if I'm good at remembering this, imagine the average person who isn't good at remembering this, like just average. This will hit you at the exact worst time. Like, it could be a medical bill. It could be a...
Don't even get started about medical bills, Mr. Universal Healthcare, okay? Shut up and sit on your laurels about the medical bill. You know,
it could be anything. But...
I did find a medical bill, by the way. I can't show it, it has way too much identifying information on it. But during my back injury, it was when I decided I needed an attorney, when I was going to the workers' comp doctor, and he said, I think you have cauda equina syndrome, which horse's tail.
That
there, as far as I'm aware, there have not been cases of it where the person lives longer than 6 months after getting diagnosed. And I was like a year and a half deep into this, right? Like, absolutely ridiculous. And he sends me to the emergency room for just a ridiculous bank of MRIs, CT scans, all this imaging. I was in the emergency room for 9 hours. In fact, I did interviews in the emergency room because I had scheduled interviews for the company that day. I didn't realize I was going to be going to the ER. So I'm like, hooked up in a hospital bed on my phone interviewing people, which neither of those people ended up working with the company. I can only imagine why that didn't work out well. But I had nothing else to do, so I was trying to keep myself entertained. Yeah. It was $19,000 for 9 hours.
Oh,
$19,000. Now, all paid for, and I'm sure negotiated to a considerably lower rate, but I didn't.
Are you sure you just don't want the British Empire to return? Just take over a little bit. Just saying.
Don't give me taxation without representation, I think is what I'm supposed to say. I don't know, man. I thought that you would find that interesting. Yeah.
I do. I hate it, but I do.
Anyways. Yeah, I do worry that it's like, I think it's fair that Bamboo is setting the new standard for what we expect out of 3D printer manufacturers. And I think it's fair to state that Bamboo's probably not making a lot of money on their machines. So what are we losing to get these other machines? Like, I mean, obviously we're losing some quality control levels. We're going to be losing some safety features. We're going to be losing some material choices. But how does that translate into a either totally understandable level of good enough, or I don't like this. I don't mind spending more money. I need something better. How do we translate that? And I think that's
I don't know.
that's where I
The only
currently
thing I
stand as
can
my
think
issue.
of is it's cheap to clone because you don't have to put the legwork in to develop.
Right.
And while that will be a cost that Bambu Lab has to consume with their printers, because they developed the shape, they developed the brackets, they developed how it goes together. These other companies can just buy a Bambu Lab and they go, oh, that's how they did it, let's copy it. So that will inherently reduce the price because
Fair.
they don't have to amenitize design, because frankly they're not designing anything. They're taking something that already exists, giving it to an engineer that goes, oh yeah, we got this machine, I'll make some changes for it to work on this machine, and then that will stamp the bits for this.
Amortization is expensive.
It is, but that only goes so far.
Yep.
And we've already seen like motherboard quality drops quite a lot, power supply quality drops quite a lot,
SSR board quality drops.
Yeah, like they are trying to eke out every pence because they have to, because there aren't pounds in this. There aren't full dollars. There are slithers of coin being shaved off the side of bigger coins to try and make your money back. And it does concern me a little bit because some of those areas where you can shave off are safety compliance.
Yeah.
Everyone, even in the UK, people told me, skip your safety compliance, just go to market. As long as you think you've done a good enough job and nobody dies, it won't matter.
But did you die? Right? That's always the...
It literally is that mentality. You won't get sued unless somebody dies. You might get fined if they find out, but you won't get sued and your company won't go under. There won't be a criminal case as long as you believe it was in your best job to do it, because there's no qualification. There's like literal no like training to give on how to do this. So you can go, well, I wasn't trained, I just did the best I could, and that's, you get a slap on the wrist and you go back to work because the government likes the money you bring in if you sell an item. So that's the only thing I can see is they're playing very fast and loose, and we're relying on the competence of the designers to make a safe product, where those designers didn't design the things in the first place.
And they're
nameless,
just copying something faceless designers. We don't know who they are, right? Like, I know when I get a product from Luke's laboratory, Luke's putting his effing name on it, right? So, like, I know the person. If things go wrong, I know who to yell at on Print Fix Friday. No, I'm joking. I doubt there would be.
But no, you're right. It's why. So spoiler alert, I don't make all the machines we make.
Lies.
I make most of them, but not all of them.
The dog makes them.
The dog does make them.
Missy makes all good the printers.
But no, it's why on every printer there's a sign-off sheet. And the person who builds that printer stays from start to end, and they put their signature on that piece of paper because they took ownership of that. It's not an invisible face when you buy from us. And that is the important thing. And when you start trying to cut the corners, there's only so much you can do before you start having to put an invisible face on for protection. I mean, hell, let's go through it now. Power supply, motherboard, hotend. Those are the three main costs in a printer. If we halved the price of those costs, we'd only actually knock off 150 quid to 200 quid of our printer cost. That's the big cost as well. That, like, we have a pie chart.
I mean, labor's your biggest cost. That's the big slice of
the pie chart.
Labor's your biggest cost.
No, it's actually not.
Yes, it is.
Look,
you're not paying yourself a living wage. Labor is your biggest cost.
Okay, so this actually gets into Making Awesome podcast 221, where we talked about margin slightly.
Yep.
For that 15% safety margin, we actually have to include labor cost to make that 15%. Otherwise, it has to be a 40% because you're not including labor cost in that. We know it takes on average 2.5 to 3 days to build a printer. You can factor in an average cost in the UK per hour is about £10 to £11 per hour wage, which is £17 per hour company wage, because we have to pay more
taxes and all
the employee gets less than what they get paid because there's overheads. There is most of it is insurance. We have to buy insurance on employees' behalf.
That's
right. We don't have medical, but we do have like pension payments and all that. We as a company we have to cover that. So we know the exact amount of hours it takes to build a printer. So it actually only works out to being about 300 quid 300 to 350 quid of
Damn.
our price is labor. It's still expensive. It is a massive chunk of the stuff. But all the little things, it's the bolts, the things that we can't skim. Because you can't skim a bolt. Like, what, you're going to buy a cheaper bolt?
I mean, you could
We're
go from
already
like a
buying
grade
cheap
8
bolts.
to a grade 6 or a grade 10.9 to something else.
Yeah,
Like,
but the price stays exactly the same.
does it?
They literally don't change. Yeah,
Oh.
they're roughly about the same. Like, we worked out, like, if we skimped everything, and I mean making wires thinner, side panels thinner, everything, it's only going to be 100 quid off. Like, it's literally not that much money.
So
So
really,
our
the money
three and a
savings
half
is
grand
economies of
machine,
scale?
it's not even that. Like, you could, in theory, get economy of scale, but if I've done the theoretical exercise. Our 3.5 grand machine would only drop to about 3 grand. If we economy of scaled, it could probably drop to 2.8. But that is on the highest end. We've skimped everything. We've cut down on safety. We made the wires aluminium instead of copper. We made the bolts rustable steel instead of black oxide steel. Like, literally every little like the coating of the bamboo goes from a nitrocellulose based coating to a wax coating. Like, we looked at that. The price doesn't drop that much. But the fact that these companies can then go from a Bamboo Lab almost 1,000 grand printer to 280 quid, there is so much they're cutting out. I physically don't understand half of it.
Well, I think it's going to be a reliance on injection molding, so economies of scale really do start to matter when you look at injection molding, because it's cheap to injection mold a side panel. You need a big machine to do it, but it's cheap, right? It might cost you 50 cents to $1 in the cheapest, crappiest ABS that you can get, right? I mistakenly said on Printfix Friday that the Cheaty is not insulated. I just assumed it wasn't, because it looks thin. It has the cutest, thinnest level of insulation I've ever seen, and it still bakes my office like an oven. So while it has technical insulation, my clothes provide technical insulation, but they don't do a whole hell of a lot, right? You know, it's not like I'm putting on a winter jacket. It's like I threw on an extra t-shirt, okay? Like, that's the level of insulation. So, you know, I think you're right. A lot of the cost comes down to like the engineering, the testing, the protocols, the procedures. But when you do move away from like high grade, doing everything the right way, you can cut a lot of corners. It was once kind of discussed that the average cost for a Gen 1 Ender 3 to be produced was about 42 to 45 US dollars.
That's really impressive.
It's not much. And they were selling them at like, you know, the peak bottom for like $75, $80 US at
I got
Micro
mine
Center.
for $99.
Yeah.
And that was good for the UK. And that included import fees.
I
and
still
shipping.
think an Ender 3 Gen 1 for $100 is a great value. Not as a 3D printer, but to have all those parts for $100, you're going to be hard pressed to be able to buy those parts all individually for less than that.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I do worry, of course, right? I think the +4 has kind of been the test bed for my worry. But yeah, I don't know, boss man. I don't. I want to see better out of this industry, but I know all the consumers care about is cost, right?
Yeah.
And we as business owners will say, oh, we want quality. Oh, we want quality. If we have what appears to be the same quality, one is 200 and the other one is 100, which one are we going to take? We're going to take the 100 every single day of the week. If the perceived quality is the same, why would I go with the more expensive one? Right?
Yeah, and now it gets even more confusing, because now all the machines are the 100.
Yep.
And now you've got the decision of, well, which 100 do I go with?
Yep.
And that's where I just break down. I don't know. I used to think that I could give a very accurate, this is your use case, this is your printer. Like, I will be, through the little flow chart of things in my head, this is the exact machine you need. I just don't see it anymore. Like, it goes through the flow chart and it's like, oh, there's 18 printers in this category now that all do the same thing. They're all the same price, all the same build volume, pretty much all the same level of quality.
And you know
I
what, dude?
don't know what to do.
Like, as a freaking, I'm going to call myself a pro. I'm going to call you a pro, right? And we're going to call ourselves amateur content creators. I think that's all fair. In this industry, it's confusing to follow it for us. So, and we, I feel, are relatively on top of this industry quite well. When you look at, like, all the other things that are going on, right? With all the other companies, how does the average consumer keep up with this?
I don't think they do. I
think
literally
they do.
think this is something similar to like Amazon,
Yeah.
where it's if you're in the first 5 of Amazon, just because you either paid the right marketing or you got seen at the right time,
You exist in
that's
that
it.
space, you
That's
win.
where the sale.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think this might just be a either recency bias type decision, like make most recent printer, or the customer before has had a Creality, therefore our new machine will be the new Creality. Like, I do not see how somebody can come into this going, I need 3D printer within this budget, and go, yes, I know which one to buy. Like, how do you describe to someone the difference between a +4 and the new Artillery M1 Plus?
The plus being the big one, right?
Yeah, so they're roughly the same. Isn't the +4 350 by 350 as well?
305 by 305 by 280 from what I can see, but it's really 265 because if you go to 280, it blocks the heater, yada, yada.
Okay, let's just assume they're both the same size for the argument's sake.
Yep.
You've got 2 printers, both heated chamber.
Yep.
Both high speed.
Yep.
Both modern.
Yep.
Both removable beds.
Yep.
Both looks like they have a clipper version of some form.
Both have questionable fire safety standards.
Yeah, they both have had spots in the past where their companies have been a bit sketchy.
Yep.
How would you describe to sell one over the other?
The first question I would ask is, do you own another printer? Like, do you own a printer from either one of these 2 brands? Because if you do, buy that brand. Right? If you have experience with one brand, buy it. Otherwise, I don't know, man. Whatever your friends want to get too. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you know, what console do you get? Do you get, you know, Xbox or PS5 or whatever, right? You know, what do you get? The answer is whatever your friends get, right? So, like, if all your friends are playing Xbox, don't go and get yourself a PS5. It doesn't make any sense. If all your friends are playing PC, which they should be, because PC is the best way to play video games, then go build a PC. Because PC Master Race. But, like, do what makes the most sense for your level. Like, I was speaking with a gentleman who is unfortunately losing his vision. And he has been really digging into bamboos because they work. And as someone who's losing their vision, being able to tinker with a machine is not something that he can really do anymore. So I look at it and say, yeah, you know what? I almost never recommend bamboo. You're getting bamboo. Because by and large, they're just going to work. And they're going to tell you what maintenance they need and when. He is the perfect example of someone who wants a bamboo printer. And that's what he's got. He's got like 7 bamboos. And they're perfect for him. I bought a Sovol SV08 off the guy. Because it was getting to the point where he was trying to work on it so much that it didn't make sense for him to keep using this machine. His wife was having to come in. His buddy was having to come in. His buddy's like, dude, get rid of this thing. Get a bamboo. They just work. And yeah, it works.
It's making it difficult to make recommendations nowadays.
Like, if you're not someone who's dealing with a disability like that, right? How would I recommend one over the other? I got to try them both and see which one I like better. And then I tell you why I chose one over the other. Because otherwise it's, how fast can I get them? Are there any stores local to me that carry parts for both of those, for either of those machines? So like, if there's a local store that carries artillery parts but doesn't carry cheaty parts, then I'm buying artillery because I have accessibility.
Yep.
Do I have a micro center near me where I can go buy parts for a Creality K2 Plus, but can't go get it for the artillery M1 Plus? Well, then I'm getting Creality, right? the factors of why I would choose one printer over another, everything being the same about the machine, all comes down to more personal preference and nuances that are difficult to quantify. And that's okay, but that's also part of the problem.
Yep.
Dreams Void said it's lick test, whichever one tastes better is the one you recommend. I like the ones that taste like the paint that I used to eat.
Oh,
Little Ralphie.
good old Ralph.
MLB says the Core One just work. I took my Core One is actually sitting in the hallway to go back out to the garage. I haven't taken it back out to the garage yet. 2 events, 2 weeks. I had one issue with it. During the first move, the bed got tilted. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it did. And it warned me, it said, you know, the bed is not moving as we're expecting. Please fix. I don't know what Prusa tells me to do. There was a QR code. I didn't have great signal, so I turned off the printer, turned it back on so all the motors were off, and then I pressed the bed all the way down manually. Leveled it back out myself, started a print, ran Benchies all day. Went to a school on Friday, Pinecrest Preparatory Academy here in Tampa. And brought it over, set it up, didn't do a damn thing. Didn't even clean the bed. Loaded filament, clicked print, making 15-minute Benchies, and I was throwing them at children. So yeah, does the Core One just work? For me, it does. There are people that it doesn't, right? I think a lot of that has to do with shipping. Shipping companies are they're
awful.
They're that asterisk at everything that makes it a problem.
Yep. We sell a good product, asterisk, as long as the shipping company didn't drop kick your machine through 16 different hoops before gently placing it in front of your front door, hopefully.
Yep. You know, Christopher Elliott says, I have a printed solid near me, so I go Prusa. Yeah. I wouldn't blame you. Yep. Right?
That's a smart decision.
Also, screw you for having a good filament manufacturer local to you. God, if I could use their inventory as my inventory, that would be so nice. I have over 100, I have probably over 200 rolls in inventory right now that are sealed. Because I don't have any manufacturers local to me. I have no retailers local to me. So I can't use somebody else's inventory as my inventory. So what I have to do, I have to keep more in stock. Is what it is. Part of the deal. So. Any final thoughts,
Thesis
dude?
DD. 1 minute. Thesis DD saying Nintendo Switch cartridges taste vile. A, stop eating Nintendo Switch cartridges. And B, you found out why they taste vile. They coated them to stop kids from swallowing them.
Look, when people were
do that.
When people were eating Tide Pods, not just for a joke, I totally understand. Mr. Keeper says, "Congrats, you are the retailer." Look at me. Look at me. I am the retailer now. and you know what? I am, right? People will call me like, "Hey, do you sell filament?" I'm like, no, but what do you need? I probably have it in stock. Oh yeah, I need black PLA, orange PETG. I'm like, yeah, I got it. They're like, what's it gonna be? I said, let me check. It's gonna be this much. Why is it this much money? I said, because that's what it cost me to replace it. They're like, okay, I'll be over in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. And I meet them, say, hey, give them a business card, give them the filament. Tell them to like and subscribe like I tell you all to like and subscribe, and then that's it. Sometimes I hear from them again, sometimes I don't. So yes, I do end up being the retailer. I don't want to be, right? I much prefer being the service bureau that just makes parts and is happily just doing his thing. I don't want to do much else, man. I want to keep it easy, keep it simple. But yeah. I say we wrap this one up. I am remembered that there is a there's a truck for sale across the street from me, and I want to go see how much they want for it.
Fair enough.
Because it's an older Chevy pickup, and if it's as old as I think, I might have enough literal cash on me to buy it. So I might go get a beater pickup truck. And it's been 3.5 hours, so...
I think we've covered most of the topics. Like,
Yeah.
there was literally one more that is semi okay.
Nah.
Just if anyone's interested in a plate changer, Automat 3D, we're at Rapid. Looks pretty interesting. Probably going to be built by LDO from my gut feel. If you're interested in an auto plate changer for a Bamboo Lab style machine, have a look at that one. And other than that, it's a regular trade show, to be honest. There's going to be a lot of metal printers. I think I counted 6 metal rocket engines just there, because metal printing is half the industry at this stage. Other than that, there's nothing really new. Like, everything changes and nothing changes. These shows, you don't really see a lot of new stuff. We got to see the Index. That was nice. It was cute.
Give us Index!
Yeah, give us Index. Let my grubby hands on it.
And if you are a part of the Discord, assuming I have decent cell signal when I walk over to go check out the truck, I'll video you guys in. Damascus Everglade says Florida rust is real. Not where I live. I'm like 30 miles in from the coast, so we don't get rust. My car's 23 years old, doesn't have an ounce of rust on it at all. Well, I can't say that. There's a little bit of rust on the hood from, like, rocks hitting it. But, like, the undercarriage of the car is in perfect shape. Not an ounce of rust.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yep.
My Honda almost rusted so far through, we ended up finding out the hard way and had to weld the subframe back together.
I will drive that car until it fails. And that is the business owner in me saying, I'm driving this car till it fails. I don't give a shit. But yeah, let me go take a look at this truck. Let's give away a roll of filament and let's say goodbye to these people and go set them over to go hang out with Steve Builds, assuming he's still streaming 3.5 hours deep. So yeah, I'll do the sign off this one because it's 222. Thank you all for watching. It's been episode 222, the 222 time world champion for the Rapid Roundup with the Index, Trackit, SLS, and so much more. Thank you all for watching. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. Don't forget to leave a like, get subscribed, check out some super sweet merch, and check out the awesome sponsors listed in that description down below. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. All right. Recording's over. Let's give away a roll of filament. Let's send these people on.
Do you know how happy I was when you started this stream saying 222? Because that's how we would say it.
Yeah.
We don't normally put 222 together. It's always triple and double. Made me actually smile on the inside.
Good.
Ugh.
Let me turn off.
Hopefully the chat didn't realize how tired I am.
Dude, I was yawning too.
Oh man, I've chugged a liter. This is my second can, a liter of energy drink.
That can't be safe.
Actually, I can feel my heart palpitating.
You know we can cancel the streams, right? You know we could do that, right?
You're talking to me, the person who will work themselves sick and then work through it and then die later.
Yep. Yeah, I'll call in late on my own funeral. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Let me make sure this person got it right. They did. Northern Tide, if you are still here, you get a roll of filament, and yeah, man, greatly appreciated.
I'm not seeing their name show up in the chat. Let's see if they're still here.
Yeah, let's see.
Dreams Void.
Nope.
Yes, that is Dark Thunder. It is the first time I've tried it. It tastes like marshmallows. I'm not sure I like it. It's a bit sweet.
I can't tag a Northern Tide, so it does not appear that they are still here. So, and I think what I want to do is I think the people need to be taggable. If they're not taggable, then I'm sorry, right? Like I feel like
it's a nice way to check.
Yeah,
unless I'm spelling northern wrong, it's not showing.
No, it's not. It's spelled the way you think. Northern.
Yeah,
Northern Tide. So yeah, let's give it to somebody else. Oh well, not this son of a gun. Oh, not oh. Hold on.
Did somebody win it again?
Let me see if he's in here. If he's not, I've got a much better way to do this. Hold on. Damn it, he's in here. Okay. Hey, Alex. I owe you a roll of filament. The Nocturnist. He is one of the D-gens, and he is currently in the Discord.
Oh.
So should I hop into the Discord and let him say something on the air? Should I do it?
Oh yeah, do it. Do
All
it
right.
live. What's the worst that can happen?
Hold on, we're gonna do it. Well, I can't show anything, so it'll just be it'll just be their voices. So here, hold on.
Great.
You guys are live on the air for the live ending of the Making Awesome podcast. The
Oh my God.
Nocturnist.
Echo.
I never went things, so I wasn't listening.
You just want to roll a filament. You want to roll a filament.
How big's the tariff on
Way
it?
to go, Alex.
Yeah, there's a tariff or something. Can you hear them at all, Jacob? I don't think
Nope,
you can.
can't hear
Yeah, Jacob
anything.
can.
I'm hoping the stream can
Yeah.
hear it. I'm just sat here going.
Yeah, totally. Say something, guys. I want to make sure the stream can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Yes, the stream can definitely hear you.
There it is.
I got nothing.
And now
nothing.
Jacob's in the Discord too.
Hey, I gotta hear. I gotta be here.
What's up, Jacob?
And there you go, you guys. So who do we got in here? We've got Alex the Nocturnist. We got Ben, otherwise known as In Phase Industries, IPIND 3D over on printables with his Mastodon upgrade for the Prusa XL. We got Mr. Chris Catlett over here, who was showing some things that we were going to talk about but opted not to because it was resin related, and I doubt that we can say anything further on that. And Mr. Mad Cat USA himself is in here as well. So that's you know, I don't know. We're just having some fun, so F it. I'm like, oh, one of the DJs won. He's literally in the chat. Let me just hop in and say hi.
Don't mind me. I'm just soldering things I shouldn't on a desk surface I shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's normal. That's just that's normal everyday stuff. Well, so there you go. Your filament bill just went down by $20.
Woo!
So DM me what you want and your address and all that. Otherwise, I'm just gonna send you neon pink and make you print it. It smells funny.
Hey, he'll enjoy that.
All right. Do you guys all want to say goodbye to the stream and then we're gonna end it and send people over to go hang out with Steve Builds?
Goodbye, stream.
Goodbye, stream.
You all have the opportunity to say whatever you want, and you just say goodbye, stream. That's it. Come on.
Hey, at least I was.
Well, we want to kind of keep it PG-13.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay, yes. Like, don't get me demonetized over here.
I could have done way worse.
I mean, I expected the Aussie to come up with something better than goodbye, stream.
Yeah, just start.
Well, if you head over
sharing
to
slurs in
my
foreign languages.
page on printables, you can download my designs tariff free.
Whoa.
That one's actually pretty good. That's probably the best one we got there so far. But all right,
Yeah.
let's go send these people to go hang out with Steve Builds. We'll see you all later. I'll be in the Discord in just a little bit as well. So if you do want to join the $10 tier, you can come hang out with all of us and quite a few other people. So yes, I will utilize the people that are already paying us to help advertise for more people to pay us to come hang out with the people that already pay us. It's do you guys actually you enjoy
I think
your
that
time
works.
here, right?
We do?
Yep.
I mean, okay, Mad Cat, you're technically a staff member, so I'm not entirely certain that your opinion matters on this one because you're now
boss says
paid.
you
to
don't
be
matter.
here. Everyone else seems to enjoy it, so. But all right, guys, we're gonna go have a
Always,
go hang out with
always,
Steve.
always worth the price of admission.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, go get your Prusa XL mods. Oh, that's right. Ben's a mod, so he can post his own links. I think pretty much all of you are mods. Yeah, go get your Prusa XL mods
Nope.
from In Phase
Apparently,
Industries.
I have not been trusted, so yeah.
Alex is not a mod.
Well, I mean, that's fair.
I'm
I'm not sure I trust him with that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But, all right, we'll see you all later. Go hang out with Mr. Steve Builds. Take care. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have a good meal or something. Bye.